The non-conference portion of the schedule for the Miami Hurricanes is over now, with Miami emerging 4-0 and ranked number 7 in the country. But things feel a little bit different this week than they did a week ago. Miami trailed twice in the second quarter Saturday in Tampa, and the Hurricanes were able to stay the course, take the lead before halftime, and then put the game against South Florida away in the second and third quarters. But now the meat of the schedule arrives, Canes fans, and we're going to find out everything that we need to know about this Hurricane team. Friday night, the Canes play host to a Virginia Tech team that has struggled a little early this season, losing a close game to Vanderbilt and another one to Rutgers. But they are still a team that some pundits thought could compete for the ACC title before the season began. After that, Miami is going to face road trips for likely night games. We already know the Cal game is going to be a night game, and we are suspecting that the Louisville game is going to be a night game as well. So, two night games on the road against teams that have decent defenses, those could be a little bit more of a challenge for Miami than what we've seen so far this season. But considering the smoothness of Miami's start, we still sense a little anxiety and uneasiness amongst the fan base that is so accustomed to being disappointed year after year. Can all of this really be true? One of the top offenses in the nation, a defense that has shown up far greater than anybody ever imagined before the start of the season? I think we're going to find out over the next few weeks. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about all that and more tonight as we begin a new edition of CaneSport Live. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com. We welcome you once again to the People's Show, CaneSport Live, presented tonight by Caneswear, your top destination for all your Miami Hurricanes gear. If you want to wear it and you want to show your fandom for the Canes, make sure you go to Caneswear at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or you can shop them online at caneswear.com. We'll talk more about Caneswear a little later in the show. By now, hopefully, you know the drill of this show, new format this year. You are encouraged to participate in the chat throughout the show, and we will address some of the topics and questions that you guys bring up in the chat. You're also welcome to come on the show. All you have to do is email us at canesport@yahoo.com, and I'm going to throw that up on the screen for you guys so that you see it here. You email us at canesport@yahoo.com. Let us know you want to come on the show. We'll send you the link to the studio, and we will bring you on the show. Matt Shodell is going to be joining me tonight, along with the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner. So we'll get to Bruce later. But right now, let's get this party started with Matt, and a guy that always has words of wisdom and perspective that everybody loves. He's built a massive, massive fan club all throughout the YouTube universe. I was in Tampa this past weekend. I think I mentioned this on one of our morning shows. And all everybody wanted to do is talk to me about Matt. So when Matt gets ultra negative, what we do is we put on a disguise. So, the people, when I go to campus and stuff, don't recognize me because, you kind of get tired having to, make excuses for Matt and explain that Matt really isn't, the biggest POS on the face of the planet. He's really a good guy. He's just ultra negative. But Matt, pretty good performance in Tampa. I don't know that you could find a lot of negativity in it. Yes, Miami trailed late in the second quarter, but we talked about this last week. I thought that was a positive. This team needs to be challenged. They can't get better if they don't have challenges. It was a challenge in Tampa. It was a night game there on the road, which is similar to what they're going to be facing at Cal and at Louisville. And they passed the test because they responded and then played a dominant second half. Your thoughts?
My thought is I enjoyed the first 2.5 minutes when you were reading off a teleprompter, and then you went off script and started talking about me. Let's not do the whole political Trump, what's it called? pump them up speech.
No
Okay?
politics.
You're trying to pump up my haters. You also said the non-conference portion of the schedule is over. Apparently, you think Miami's not going to the playoffs because I think they'll be playing another non-conference team. You know, I'm a hater, but I'm just saying you don't seem to think that. That's fine with me.
Oh my God.
In terms of the USF game, yeah, you always steal my talking points. That's why you always talk first. I mean, I literally would have said what you said, which is Miami needed a game like that to get ready for, I think, a Virginia Tech team, which people argue is worse than USF. I disagree. The odds makers disagree because if you see what USF was favored, was an underdog by at home versus what Virginia Tech's an underdog at Miami, it's a difference of about 4 points, which 4 points in Virginia Tech's favor, meaning Virginia Tech is a better team. And I also personally, people don't care about USF. They saw that game. But I personally think, and you already stole my thunder on that, I personally think that Virginia Tech, in particular, is a more difficult matchup for Miami just in what Virginia Tech happens to do well. Because Virginia Tech's strength on defense is its pass rush. They have one of the nation's best pass rushers, and they have one of the nation's most talented cornerback room. So, Miami's strength so far has been passing the ball. I know Miami fans are to think, okay, well, Miami's got a great running back room, great offensive line, no problem. But to this point, if you want to point to one area of Miami's offense that hasn't been as strong, you'll be far pressed, aside from fake news, to say it's not the running backs room because they have not fared well. Damian Martinez has not had a breakout game yet, and this is against 4 subpar opponents. I understand they're stacking the box. Everyone always says that Miami can't run the ball. How can you possibly run the ball against FAMU when they're putting 7 or 8 or 9 guys in the box? It's impossible. People have done it successfully. Okay, just because you stack the box doesn't mean they don't back off of it a lot of times. You got to keep another defense honest. Regardless, I think if there's a matchup that you don't want against this Miami high-flying offense, it's pass rush that's exceptional and a secondary that's exceptional because Cam Ward is running the show. Cam Ward is what makes it all go. You slow him down. I don't know how that looks because it hasn't happened yet. Okay, nobody has slowed down Cam Ward. The next 3 games, Virginia Tech, Cal, Louisville, all have probably the 3 best defenses, in my opinion, Miami's going to see all year. So that'll be the test. On the flip side, when Miami is on defense, I think Miami's strength on defense is the pass rush. I think their defensive line is the strength of the defense. And the secondary, I know fans will freak out. I think it's still untested because they haven't played a good passing offense yet. They just have not. And the one receiver they played that's any decent blew up Darryl Porter last weekend. So I don't know for sure yet what happens there. Damari Brown looks like he's remaining out. I don't know what happens in the cornerback room. I feel really good about Mish Powell. 50-50 on if Jaden Harris is really good or not. I don't, I'm not ready to proclaim it yet. And I'm not sure the cornerbacks have any decent depth. If Darryl Porter's your best cornerback and a receiver at USF just blew him up, I don't know what that means. Okay. So now as you look at what Virginia Tech does well on offense, again, the pass rush for Miami is a strength, right? So you want a team that's going to drop back with a guy who's a pocket passer and just looks to throw the ball. Whether he's good or not is a different question. This is not a team that does that. This is a team that relies on a power run game with a really strong running back, a powerful running back, and a quarterback who likes to escape the pocket and run. So is Miami a great run defense? It has been so far, but have they faced a rushing attack as good as Virginia Tech? You could argue USF has a really good running attack because they were ranked really highly, had a lot of yards, but it sort of wasn't against anyone. Not that Virginia Tech's played anyone great either. I just personally think Virginia Tech has a better rushing attack than USF. That's just my personal opinion. You can't base it on anything yet because neither team has really said, hey, we went against this great defense and we ran for 250 yards. That hasn't happened for either of them. But again, if I'm picking a way that I want an offense to try and attack Miami, I want a pocket passer. A pocket passer where we know where he's going to be, and Tyler Barron can just throw his guy on the ground and go tackle him, and that's not Virginia Tech. So again, I don't love the matchup. Miami's still going to win by double digits. To me, I said it on the Good Morning CaneSport show, which nobody should ever watch yesterday. I think the 19.5-point line is too big. I think they win this game by 10-14. Maybe they're up by 21 late and Virginia Tech scores a touchdown. I don't know. My prediction, and by the way, I predicted a blowout of Florida. I predicted a blowout in every game. Last game, my score prediction was 48-14. So I was off by 3 points, whatever it was, 50-15, I guess. So I've been on. And we'll see if I now go 4-1. I don't know. But my feeling is Virginia Tech is underrated. My feeling is Miami is not overrated, But I think that in terms of buying a stock, it would be at the high point, right? Everyone in the country right now thinks Miami might be, one of the best teams in the SEC, let alone the ACC, right? So Miami stock has never been higher. Heisman Trophy front runner, right? Defense is killing everybody. And I think Virginia Tech stock is lower than how good they actually are. They have a lot of veterans, a lot of talent. They lost to 2 bad games, Vanderbilt and who, by the way, almost upset the number 11 team in the country this past weekend. And then also obviously Rutgers, and we know Rutgers is okay, nothing special. So you can call Virginia Tech a middle of the road ACC team. I still consider that a test. I think this is the first real test Miami will have. And that's just my opinion. That's it. The whole show's over, guys. Sorry, nobody got to talk. None of the fans got to express themselves. But it's been real.
All right, I'm gonna jump right now to Kane because he's at work and he's been pacing. So Kane, welcome back to CaneSport Live, man. What do you think this week?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing over there, Matt? You're throwing a lot of good old negative stuff out there. Now you're throwing out real stuff. You're throwing out real stuff. You're right. We ain't played nobody. No matter what Miami does, y'all know this as well as I do. We could win the Natty, and they'll still say, "Oh, there's something about Miami." But football is so much better with the way Miami is playing. All the fans are amped. Everybody's hyped. I live in Virginia. They played ODU a couple weeks ago. I looked at stats. Stats is for losers. That's what people tell me. I think, like you said, we'll win by double digits, but we'll see how it goes. The secondary, because your boy was killing Porter. Man, I was about ready to say, what the hell, Porter? Can you even catch this dude? But remember, this dude's like a little midget. And that dude Atkins was everywhere. But the run stop, they did good. They were number 8 coming into to that game, and they rushed for like 200 and some yards. We held them to 62, and the quarterback, which is a runner. Whatever it may be, Canes fans, like I said at the beginning, the sun will rise on the 305. Now, if we lose, all hell gonna fall to the left, and it's gonna be a disaster. Ain't that right, Matt? Tell me I'm lying.
I mean, you can't use the word midget anymore, so you lost me after that. That's like people say that's a word you're not allowed to say.
Not allowed to say that.
So I'm going to disagree with everything else you said after that. No.
Okay, well, fine.
I agree. Miami wins by double digits. They're not going to lose. But you're right. If they lose, the sky will fall in, and it'll be a disaster. I can't even imagine them losing at home in this game. It would be
I can't. Of course, I'll be there.
I've ever seen.
Gary, keep doing y'all thing. Matt, keep doing y'all thing. I don't have a lot to say because we 4-0. Yeah, but last year we was, but there's a difference. I don't get caught up in the highs. It's a big difference, and it all starts with the quarterback. No offense to Tyler. Sorry he hurt. But Cam, you see him. He stands there and runs out of bounds like, hit me, dude. Come on, hit me. So as soon as I touch out of bounds, it's 15 yards. Or like you said, Gary, he hasn't had to really look off. Sometimes he has. The offensive line doing good. Hell, just enjoy the moment. And don't talk about the other receivers. I know Gary sometimes say this, but Horton, that motherfucker, he's a monster right about now.
Great.
He's a monster.
No, what I've been saying is we got 4 good receivers.
4 good receivers.
We don't have to rank them.
But see, that's what I say. It's just like we're ranking the teams. I don't care about it right now. November, if you keep winning, everything will fall in place, right, gentlemen? That's all.
Gary, listen, Canes. Gary doesn't want to rank the receivers because he has been consistently saying that Sam Brown is better than Isaiah Horton, and now he's starting to realize maybe he's not. Now they're all even, according to Gary. Now everyone's the same, according to Gary. God forbid.
I never used the word better.
I'm going to tell you this. Horton got that built. Horton got that speed. He has that energy. Now, your boy caught that ball. He was gone. No doubt about it. That's what we got him for.
Brown's got the same things. Brown is a proven commodity. He's going to have a big season. There will be many more big plays.
And I'm not going to hold it up. The last thing I'll say is the difference between us and FSU is Mario knows how to recruit. Mario played young guys. Remember, we played freshmen last year. We're playing freshmen and sophomore this year. So I don't know what we'll do for quarterback, but I'm not worried about that because the young man Williams played good the week before last. So, hey, we're going to be fine. Ride or die, 305. Hope to see y'all in Florida Friday. And I hope no bad weather, right? They ain't going to cancel the game, right? I know that's going towards Tampa. All right, that's what I thought. All right, ride or die, 305. The sun will rise. Y'all take care. Nice talking to you. Have a blessed night. Peace.
All right, King.
That's how you start off the show right there, man. Why are we even on there? You should put him on the whole screen. Why do we bother putting the 2 of us on here? It's a waste of time. He's amazing.
You're right. I should have. No doubt about it. All right. If you want to come on the show like Kane, all you got to do is email us at canesport@yahoo.com. Feel free to post comments and questions in the chat. We'll get to those in a little bit. But now let's go to Everything 305. He's audio only once again this week. But Everything, welcome back to CaneSport Live.
Gary and Matt, good evening. How we doing?
What's up? What's up?
Well, I don't want to rain on Kane's parade here. And I don't want to give too many props to Matt this early in the show. But I am going to agree with a lot of things he is saying. We haven't been tested in the passing game by a traditionally strong passing team or quarterback. But I do feel that our defense, the big key of our defense is all 11 guys be on the same page. All right. The front seven are great. They do their job. Are we as deep as we need to be? Probably not, but we're still in pretty good shape overall. But our secondary, you're getting phenomenal chemistry with an older guy and a third-year guy in Harris, I believe. And I think that chemistry, if that continues to grow and that trust continues to grow within that scheme, and those guys have ownership, now I think a guy like Porter might get picked on in situations in which the scheme is giving that. So if you look at what Coach was trying to do last week, he was trying to make sure we didn't give up the big play via the pass, right? Is that pretty much, can we all agree on that, or are we disagreeing on that?
This past weekend, I mean, they were clearly trying to stop the run first.
Right. But when we gave up all those chunks under the middle in the passing game, what were we doing?
We were going to one-on-one coverage, just zero coverage with they were stacking up the box and just saying, try to beat us with the pass.
Right. But Coach did a nice job of allowing those safeties to do their job and giving them space to cover. We did a lot of zone stuff there too. If you look at that film again, you got some good zone looks, and that's where they got their biggest chunks, and that's where in those rub outs and those picks, whatever you want to call them, that's why 38 was so effective, right? In motion, coming across, coming back, coming across, and Porter trailing the guy the whole day. But behind him was a lot of zone concepts. And I think what Coach was doing is trying to make sure those guys continue to trust the system. And then you're mentioning a lot of one-on-one stuff. And those blitz packages, we went to cover zero a few times, no doubt about it. But the biggest thing that he did was he's letting these guys own the system, and they're running the system. And do we possess phenomenal talent at the corner spot right now? Probably not, but they're pretty good within this scheme. So right now it's a byproduct of the scheme because the front seven is playing pretty well. But again, they got to get better in the front seven as well. We got to do a better job against the run. There are things that we got to get better at. But right now that defense, and I think my main point here is, as positive as Kane is, you have the ultimate weapon, and that quarterback is the straw that stirs the drink. We got that. Everybody in America knows that. But what allows this team to come back when adversity struck was that defense, settling down and forcing South Florida to do things they didn't want to do, and taking the aggressive approach. Those things you can't teach. That's the sign of a team of one side of the ball that pretty much owns the scheme. Not them being robots fitting the scheme like Al used to do, but those guys own that scheme. And the biggest difference, I think, Matt, is the kid from Washington. He's playing phenomenal. He's really leading the defense. Him and Kiko have great chemistry. When you look at the second and the last level defense, okay, you've got good chemistry there. Yeah, we might not have the best talent out there, but they're playing together and they're on the same page. And that's a credit to coaching.
Yeah, let me weigh in a little bit. So, I mean, look, the guys who are standing out on defense, Tyler Barron, Simeon Barrow, Kiko Mawanoa, Akeem Messidor when he's been at full strength, Mish Powell, like you mentioned, and I think Wesley Bissains too. What's missing among all those is cornerbacks, right? And if you look at, not that Pro Football Focus knows anything at all. They don't know what a guy is supposed to do in a particular play, but they do know in one-on-one coverage, hey, is he sticking with the guy or not? And they grade people based on that, right? And there's not a single Miami defensive back cover grade that's 70 or higher other than Mish Powell. And 70 is considered, pretty like that's average. That's good. That's what you're supposed to do. So, like, even though opponents haven't been finding a lot of big plays down the field consistently, it doesn't mean they're not there to be taken when you play a good offense, right? Or a good quarterback who has time to throw the ball. So we're going to find out, over the next several games if it is a weak area or not. Like, I understand you saying that it's all about the communication and them playing as a unit on defense, which to an extent is definitely true. They certainly understand Lance Guidry's defense a lot better than they did a year ago, and you could see that. But at the same time, personnel-wise, you know what you have up front. You know the defensive line is probably one of the top 2 or 3 in the ACC. The starting linebackers are really good. So, if the secondary is on the same page and playing really well, this is a top national defense. But I'm not sure if what I'm hearing you say is that you believe that's the case, or if you think the jury is still out, because I'm in the camp where I believe the jury is still out on the secondary, and I think that the front 6, right, in a 4-2-5, I think the front 6 is solid, and I'm not sure about the back end. So that's all I'm trying to say. Maybe in response to you, I'm just not sure if that's really what you were asking me to get at or not. I don't know if there's a question in there.
That's pretty much it. I would love to tell you that the corners are two shut down corners. That's not what we have. And if you look at how we're defending quick outs and things of that nature, it shows we're giving a ton of cushion for a reason, right? We're giving. You can't take everything away in any scheme. We all know that. But what we are giving lets you know that you don't have 2 shutdown corners. You got good system guys. Correct. But if they communicate well, and the biggest thing, Matt, is they tackle well. You do those things, you give yourself a shot for that front 7 to do an even better job if they continue to bring those pressure packages. So what I'm trying to say is I agree with you, but I also want to credit the scheme, and I think we don't credit the scheme enough in terms of the guys owning the scheme. It's not about what you draw, what we draw up as coaches. It's when the players take over and they're running it and they're owning it. And there's a big difference there. We've never had that in the last 4 or 5 years. Even with Manny's best defense that we had, we really never really had that. I think you have that now. We have a lot of individual talent.
Just like I wouldn't try to rank the running backs and receivers because they're all playing well, I'm not sure that we have to label one of the cornerbacks a shutdown corner. I mean, that would be absolutely reaching. I agree. But, like, for example, could De'Ani Hill have looked any better than he looked in the South Florida game? Boy, did he really show out the other night. No doubt about it. So, listen, they're getting good play. They haven't played an elite passing attack to this point. They will definitely be tested in the passing game when they play Louisville. That, for sure, with Jeff Brom's offense, he's as good a play caller as there is in the country. I don't know that Cal will challenge them that much. I don't even know, that Virginia Tech will be able to challenge them much more than they've been challenged in that regard. But I don't think we have to put a label on those guys. Just let them keep doing what they're doing. I mean, Jaden Harris has been way better so far this year than anybody would have expected. Mish Powell, he's a stud, man. Like, that kid is a flat, really good football player who's going to get drafted relatively high in April because he is rock solid. But I'll throw it out there right now. I think we're better at safety this year than we were a year ago when we had James Williams and Cam Kinchins. Okay. And call me crazy, yell at me, tell me I'm disrespecting James and Cam, whatever you want.
I would say through the first 4 games, Gary, you're making a phenomenal point that we've had even tougher competition the first 4 games, if you want to look at it that way. And the level of execution has been much higher. The defense has been from our safeties, no doubt about it. They've been better.
No doubt, man.
Now, offensively, I just want to say this last thing before I let you guys go. I know you guys are busy with full board tonight, but I don't think we've seen everything out of Coach Dawson just yet. I think we're going to see some more stuff that he hasn't shown this Friday night. But I am a little worried about the weather, and if it's going to be like it's being projected now, being monsoonish, we're really, really, really going to have to do a phenomenal job of taking care of the ball.
I'm pretty sure the storm will be well past us by Friday night.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that. It'll be a wet field probably, but I don't think it's going to be storming.
Okay.
And if it is monsoonish, there'll be another 3-hour delay. They're not going to, if there's a hurricane up there and there's bands coming through, they are laced with thunderstorms. So they're not going to be playing at the time it's monsooning, you know? I mean, that's just the nature of these bands.
All right, everything.
Thank you, man. Take care of the ball. Good luck, guys.
Yep. Thanks as always. All right. If you want to come on the show, give us an email at CaneSport@yahoo.com. You also are welcome to comment and post questions in the chat. And Matt, one of them comes in from Geo Kane. He's drinking the Kool-Aid, Matt. He's right there. How do they stop that offense? Can anybody stop the Canes offense? And it's funny. Matt rattled some people, as he tends to do this morning with a story. And I'll just say what the headline was. The first 4 opponents are among the nation's worst ranked defenses, but that doesn't minimize what Cam Ward and company are showing us. And I thought it was very well said. I mean, no, they haven't played anybody with a good defense so far, but they've done everything they could do, which is control their game. And you got you got 4 running backs playing great. You got 4 receivers playing great. 3 tight ends playing great. NFL scouts are going crazy about Arroyo. He's come out of nowhere, in their minds, and they just love what they're seeing of him, the way he's running around the field. And the offensive line hasn't really hit its stride yet because Jalen Rivers hasn't been out there the last couple of weeks. So, everything's coming up roses for the offense. Matt, how does anybody stop this offense?
It's pretty funny how when things look good, fans and everyone else, reporters, they blow it over the top. That's the world we live in right now. Okay. When anything looks like it's rolling in the right direction, it's a blowout for the team you root for every single week. But we all know in reality, that's never the case. There's no team that I can remember in recent history that is winning every game by 30 to 40 points against their conference opponents. It just is not modern college football. Now, then maybe that's the case with this Miami Hurricanes team. Maybe they will buck the trend. What I feel like we do know about Miami's offense, since that was the first item that Gary put up, regardless of the opponent, this is sort of what I was trying to get at. In spring practice, in fall camp, they're playing each other. They sort of know what each other's going to do. They know each other's tendencies. They know how fast the guy they're going against is. They play against them for 1,000 reps. They know exactly what that guy can do. When you get into games, you can learn a lot more, no matter who the opponent is. And so what we do know is this Miami offense is outstanding. It doesn't matter, even if they played Bethune-Cookman for 4 games in a row. You can tell, you can watch a quarterback throw a pass. You can watch a receiver run a route and catch a pass without even a defense there. And you could say, okay, that guy is really, really good. What we can say about watching this offense is it is really, really good. Now, is it elite? I think people that are Miami fans would say yes. I think people who are not Miami fans would say, let's wait and see. And I think people in the middle who are rational would say it could be either. Okay, and that's where I am. I'm in the middle, just like I am politically. I'm an independent. I'm not, people think I'm a Democrat. Some people think I'm a Republican. I'm literally registered independent. Like, I'm not making that up. I'm an independent. Okay, I can go either way. I see both sides. And I see both sides on this because as great as Miami's looked, I want to see them play a really, really good defense and sort of know what that looks like. I would have loved for them to, be playing a decent level SEC team this week instead of Virginia Tech. I want to know. And I feel like we're not really going to know anything probably until the Louisville game. And that disturbs me. And then after the Louisville game, you always want to see the team get better as the season goes on, right? That's always been a problem for Miami in the past. How are we going to measure that when Miami doesn't play anybody else of any real substance until maybe an ACC title game against Clemson and then the playoffs? That's what bothers me. And it's why, and people think I'm like complaining about the schedule and why they do it. It was made years ago. You don't know Florida's going to be floundering with 4 straight losing seasons and just be a bad team. You don't know Florida State is going to be in the doldrums. You don't know that 4 ACC teams that could have been scheduled this year that are either ranked or receiving votes in the AP poll are not on Miami's schedule. That's a fact. 4 of the ACC opponents that could have been on this year's schedule that are ranked or receiving votes in the AP poll this week are nowhere to be found on Miami's schedule. Like, that's just happenstance. Miami just happened to get a schedule that includes all the easiest ACC teams and no good out-of-conference teams, other than Louisville. Miami has one game this year. They're either going to finish 1-0 or 0-1, and that's going to be the season. Like, that's weird to me. I don't love that, but like, that's the box we've been put in. And so, yeah, let's just see Miami play great football, keep playing great football. And then when we get to the ACC title game, we'll know. And when we get to the playoffs, we'll know. Like, okay, you know, it was a mirage like it was in, what year was it? 20, whatever, with that 10-0 start. Like, that was a mirage, right? This feels more real to me. And I said before this season, I said in the past years, for 20 years now, I've been pessimistic. Well, not the beginning of the 2003, 2004 seasons, but since then I've been pessimistic every year. And before this season, I said, it's the weirdest thing. You know, I don't feel pessimistic this year. I feel this is a for real team. Easy schedule, Cam Ward, great offense, good defensive linemen added. They finally hit it in the portal. Mario seems to be developing guys that are younger. I said before the year, and you know, you remember this from the show, Gary, and Good Morning CaneSport, like we were talking about it. Like, it felt different before this season, and it still feels different. But I want to see it. Just because my heart's telling me one thing and my eyes are telling me one thing, until you see it with your eyes against that caliber of opponent where you know that's a real freaking team that's been built up for years and has great personnel and great coaches, and they crush it on both sides of the ball against other really good teams. When you beat that team, that's when I'm fully on board. Until then, I'm an independent voter, man.
Well, your fan base is out in force tonight. Fresh 3542 says you are daddy, baby.
I don't even. Isn't it father? I thought Matt is father. It's not. My kids tell me I'm father. I don't know what daddy means.
M. Karamek, he says that you've been on point for the last 3 years.
That's such an insult. I've been covering the team for 25 years. And then only Derek 3 out of 25. What is that? A 6% hit percentage? That's terrible.
And Derek wants to salute you for being the only media person asking questions.
That is true. I don't understand why. I mean, literally, I'm not going to call out people, but everyone knows who they are. Like, one reporter only wanted to ask about the team celebrating and how are they going to not draw penalties if they keep celebrating. Like, are you kidding me? Every player that's available today, that's your question? Nobody asked about Virginia Tech. Like, it made Virginia Tech seem like an afterthought, not even a real team, not even a real opponent. It's the toughest opponent Miami's played all year, and Miami's trying to win a national championship. Like, how does anybody not named Matt Shodell not ask about that? I don't want to be having to ask about the Hokies. Like, you know, I have other questions I'd like to ask, but I get one question. And I'm lucky to get one question because they probably hate me at UM just as much as everyone else in the world hates me. And like, I have to ask about that because nobody else will ask about the most important thing, which is the toughest game of the year, which just happens to be coming up in a few days. And like, I get it. The Hokies aren't a great team, but like, they're even a middle of the road ACC team. We'll learn something. It's interesting to hear what players say about it. And the fact that nobody asked anything, not a single player other than, you know, I was the only one who asked at all about the game that's coming up. That was it. Only me. Even the erstwhile Azubi Charles was out for himself getting like TikTok quotes, you know, which is what his job is, honestly. He does social media quotes for us. But, you know, so yeah, it's a little disheartening. The media has become soft as Larry Coker's final team at Miami. Oh, I was thinking that came out of my mouth? My bad. But no, like, the media's become soft, man. Like, the guys I grew up with, the George Millions, the Omar Kellys, et cetera, man. It's and I don't mind making my fellow media colleagues mad, but like, those guys would not put up with the way the media is treated by the University of Miami today, period. Like, no injury updates. They'll be reporting on injuries. They don't freaking care. Matt Porter literally had a source in the building who gave him injury updates every single morning before practice, and he would put him out on Twitter right away. And he would still do it today. You know, and good luck to Mario trying to ban one reporter from the press box, which happened years ago, and it backfired badly on Dennis Erickson. You know, like, this is a reporter's job. The reporter's job is to say, how do you avoid penalties when you're dancing in the end zone? What are you talking about? Like, are we fans or are we reporters?
All right. James, the Italian Stallion, I can't tell what's going on here. He's in the dark. So, James, are you there? There he is.
Yeah, I'm here.
I didn't want to. I mean, I saw you coming and going late. I didn't want to.
Is this an episode of The Sopranos? What the hell's going on over there?
He is, man. This is Tony Soprano himself right here, baby.
Well, to tell Matt to make the joke from 3 or 4 weeks ago, yeah, I've been kicked out of the house again by the wife, so I have to do it more. No, for real, it's crazy. I actually work in claims adjusting, so we're getting ready for this storm and everything, and it's just one of those things where I'm driving home late. I usually get off at 6, but it's not been easy these last few weeks. It's always like this and so forth. So, but no, I'm on and so forth. And thanks for putting me on. I really appreciate it, guys. And so forth.
Yeah, no sweat.
Yeah, I've been wanting to be on the last couple of weeks, but like I said, with work and everything. But no, I'm really impressed with the team, and you know, I can see both sides of both you guys' points. Yeah, we haven't played anybody, but I will say this about the defense: we have technically knocked out 2 quarterbacks. So is it even possible that maybe we knock out another one in Virginia Tech? I'm not wishing that on anybody. It's just that these quarterbacks haven't even been able to finish the game. And that's just a tribute to the physicality of our defense right now. And I wanted that brought up and so forth, because if this Virginia Tech kid is kind of a mobile quarterback and he, you know, goes the wrong way and gets popped, he may not even finish the game, and that could really change things for them and so forth. I'm not trying to say that I know something. It's just something that I've noticed. And there's just something in the demeanor of this team. Gary, I loved your point at the beginning. It feels different because, yes, we were 4-0 last year, but the 4-0 in a way was, I mean, you played a MAC team in Miami of Ohio. You played Bethune-Cookman. Texas A&M turned out to be what they were. And then they even looked kind of sloppy against Temple up there in Philadelphia. And then there was the bye week. And so the thing was that I just think you've got a different personnel. Some of those guys from this team are from last year's team, are the right guys still on the team. They know what it takes. And I just feel they want to get better and better. And they really want to go out and hurt the opponent. Like whether that means putting up points, they're having fun out there. It's different, and it's a joy to see. It's been more than 20 years, and you know that you've arrived and done something right when ESPN is changing your game and going to other games. I mean, it feels like back in 2001 when we were beating the hell out of everybody so bad. And it's like, well, you know, that was back then before there was so much coverage, and it was like regional games, and John Saunders would come on there and be like, we're going to get you to a more competitive game. And I didn't think that I'd ever see that again, because, you know, how many times have we been relegated to like the ESPN news until some stupid game before us isn't done, and if you don't have ESPN news, you're shit out of luck and so forth if you're not at the game or whatever. So it's just one of those things where you kind of know things are kind of changing for the better, and let's just ride this ride until, you know, we either face disappointment like Matt says, or maybe we luck out and put one in the cupboard just like Michigan did last year.
You know what? He's got a great point. We should stop trying to figure out if this team's good or not based on national rankings and base it instead on how often they get kicked off of the channel they were initially shown on. I think that's a great idea. I mean, that's the definition of success right there, you know?
It is. And I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, like there were people freaking out 2 weeks ago of like when the ACC network switched it, and then they said, oh, we're going to put you to ACC NX, whatever that is. And it's like, and then they didn't even do it right. Like ESPN didn't even know what they were doing right. And then they were so in a hurry to get this BYU Kansas State game on and relegated us to the ESPN news and so forth again. I mean, it was just, it was baffling to see, but I was like, and I hate it from a standpoint, we want to see the younger guys. We want to see the future and everything. And, but like I said, I'm just enjoying this. They're putting up some impressive numbers, and I'd like to believe that there's a revenge tour going on right now, guys. You know, we owe one to Virginia Tech. I think we won the last time we played them, and it was probably the most boring game ever. It was a couple years ago. I think Jake Garcia was our quarterback, and we won by like 2 points. I feel like maybe that was Virginia I'm thinking of, but it wasn't. The
Virginia was the triple overtime game.
Was the triple overtime game?
Yeah, that was Virginia.
But we beat Virginia Tech, didn't we? But they were really bad. They had a first-year coach, but we should have beaten them worse, and it wasn't that good of a win. And that team was just a disaster 2 years ago. But he's really come far with what he's brought in and what it used to be. And I know he still feels like we've got a long way to go, but at the same time, we owe them one. We owe Cal one from the bowl game from a few years ago. We owe one to Louisville countless times over. The truth be told, and I'm just going to go a little bit ahead of it, the bye week. I mean, that's inexcusable. The fact that you've not won a game in a long time coming off of a bye week, that's when you know this team has turned the corner and is different from the others, because even under the Richt regime, we came off of a bye week and lost. So that right there is inexcusable. So I'm hoping that these next 3 games, we continue the path that we're on. And I just want to say this, guys, I appreciate everything you guys do. Love the morning show, like I've said before, and just continue everything you do. And I hope that everybody with CaneSport and everything pays you guys back, because I know it was miserable these last 2 years, and it's a lot of fun this time to write about the team and not why it's so bad and so forth, like you've done for the past 20. But love you guys. Have a good one. Go Canes, as always.
Thank you, James. And yeah, if anybody does want to join our CaneSport community and become a subscriber to CaneSport, you just go to canesport.com. You will not be sorry. We have a great group of fans on the site pretty much every minute of every day. And, of course, our whole staff, we do everything we can do every single day as well to enhance what we call your fan experience and make you guys the most knowledgeable fans out there, and just show you a good time. So, yeah, if you're not yet a subscriber to canesport.com, please head on over and become a subscriber. James, I got to boot you from the studio because we got guys kicking the door down. So you can go on the website and watch the show traditionally on YouTube. Now let's go to Matt Shodell's partner in negativity. That's our man, Greg. Greg, welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm not negative. I got a bone to pick. I got to talk to Matt. Matt, how the hell do you think that Clemson is a better team than Miami right now? Clemson got their ass kicked by Georgia by 30. They couldn't move the ball at all, okay? We beat Clemson last year without Ward, without Barrow, without the rest of these free agents, Powell.
Barron.
Okay. Bain hasn't played he played 3 downs this year. Rivers hasn't played the last 3 games. Damari Brown is our best corner, hasn't played but a quarter of the first game. By the way, Josh Pate says we're a top SEC team playing in the ACC right now. I don't know. You didn't watch the game. Louis Riddick said we got dudes. And that guy is a player personnel guy in the NFL. That guy knows talent, okay? I don't want to hear about Clemson or Virginia Tech and their garbage talent. We're 10 times better than any team on our schedule, okay?
At what point do I get to respond, Greg? When is there a pause that I get to respond?
You just talked for like a half an hour straight before the last guy was on, so go ahead.
Yes, he did. I agree.
So listen, it appears I've elevated your blood pressure unnecessarily, Greg, because you're watching the CNN and Fox News version of what I said. I never said on the Good Morning CaneSport show that Miami would lose to Clemson, or that Clemson
they were better. I heard it with my ears.
I'm going to explain to you what I said. I didn't say Clemson was better than Miami. I said we should take the perception that Clemson is better than Miami. You got to take it all in context, Greg. You got to do the whole quote, not just better than. The perception has to be Clemson is better than Miami because Clemson has set the standard in the ACC for the last 15 years. Miami's been in the ACC, right? So until you get over that hump, and I understand they beat Clemson last year when Clemson wasn't good and Miami wasn't good, but this is the year when Miami can establish itself as the face of the ACC. That wasn't the case last year, right? To be the face of the ACC, at some point, you got to thrash Clemson, just like they did the one time we were in the ACC title game against them. That is how you claim that you now own the ACC. And until that happens, I personally feel, and this is what I was saying, that Miami fans should take the perception that Clemson's the better team. Because you know what? They've owned the conference for 15 damn years. Every year. It's time for Miami to be back. And until Miami can prove that it's back, you got to thrash Clemson, man. Like, that's the team that has been the face of the ACC for 15 years. So don't come on this show with your blood pressure problems, yelling at me and telling me I said that Miami's worse than Clemson when I never said those words.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that Clemson's better than Miami when I never said those words.
You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Yeah, that's literally what I said on the show.
Matt, who has more talent, Miami or Clemson? Answer the question.
What? What's the question?
Answer it. Who has more talent?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to be clear. I only have one mouth, not two mouths, so I can't speak out of two sides of it. I think this year, Miami has more talent than Clemson. Okay? But I want to take the perception to be out there that Clemson's the team that Miami has to beat to be the beast of the ACC moving forward. Like, I'm sorry. That's how I view it. I'm not going to go ahead and say, I'm not going to say right now, based on Miami's schedule, by beating Louisville, you beat Louisville, you say, we're the best team in the ACC, Greg? Or do you beat Louisville and Clemson and then say, now we're the best team in the ACC? You tell me, Greg, what's your answer?
How do you know if we're even going to play Clemson?
If Clemson's not in the ACC title game, then it doesn't matter. They're obviously not the best.
You don't know if we're going to play them. If you don't know if they're going to make it.
If they're not good enough to make the ACC title game, then obviously Miami has already beaten them, right? You beat them by getting there, and Clemson didn't.
Okay. And who are these four teams you're talking about that we don't have on our schedule that are so great that we should be worried about?
Okay, listen, again, Greg, don't take what I said out of context. I didn't say they're great. I said they're ranked or receiving votes, okay? Here they are. Clemson is 17th. Okay. The teams that are receiving votes in the ACC poll that we're not playing are Boston College, Pittsburgh, SMU. So those are the four, right? So the four would be Clemson, BC, Pittsburgh, and SMU. They all are either ranked or receiving votes, and we're not playing any of them.
Okay. I believe we played, didn't we demolish Boston College last year?
We beat Boston College at Boston College last year.
We beat the snot out of them, okay? We killed them, all right? Yeah. SMU, with all our rejects, is going to beat us? Come on.
Are you arguing with me? I don't think we lose to any of them. I don't understand. Why are you putting words in my mouth? Why are you putting words in all three sides of my mouth? Don't be putting words in all three sides of my mouth, Greg.
Okay.
Now hammer Gary a little bit. Jeez, man.
Why should I hammer Gary?
Because why not? Be an equal opportunity hammerer.
Now, let me ask you a question. Isaiah Horton is our most talented receiver. I don't care what. Restrepo's fantastic. But Isaiah Horton has much more potential for the NFL than Restrepo. Do you agree with that?
Yes, because Restrepo doesn't have the speed for the NFL. I think he's going to have a tough time in the NFL. But Horton's been great. I think he's the most improved player on the team. I like the other receivers too. You know, I mean, I am a big believer in Sam Brown. Not everybody is. A lot of people were down on him after the Florida game. I think he's got some mental stuff going. You know, he comes into the season. He was not here until pretty much like even after fall camp opened. So like he is way behind in terms of learning the offense, working in the offense, building a connection with Cam Ward. And I think that's hurt him early this season. But I see an effort over the last 7, 8, 9 days now by Shannon Dawson to get him going. And he's getting more targets and having a lot more success. And I think the best of Sam Brown is yet to come. I think Jacoby George, I mean, you just can't trust him, but I mean, he is capable of making good plays from time to time also. So, and we haven't even gotten into JoJo Trader yet or any of the other talent that they have. People keep asking me about Shamar Kirk. I mean, 904 Hurricane here is asking the question, what's up with Shamar Kirk? Where the hell is he? He can't get on the field ahead of these guys. I mean, they got a lot of talent at that position. So, but
I got one last point. I believe that Jordan Lyle and Allen are producing much better than Mark Fletcher and Martinez.
All right, let me jump
I
in here.
think Jordan Lyles is going to be a tremendous back in the future. He might be our most talented back, even though he's a freshman.
So Martinez, not quite to the degree of Sam Brown, but also got a late start here. Okay, this is a kid that averaged 6.3 or 6.4 yards a carry last year at Oregon State in big boy college football. I mean, this guy has a multi-year track record of being an absolute stud. They brought him here for a reason. He flashes here or there, like that 50-yard pass play at South Florida was a great play. We're just not seeing it consistently from him yet because I'm not sure the offensive line is there yet. You know, this is a new offensive line than what we had last year. Rivers has been hurt. These guys haven't really built the chemistry together in the run offense because we're throwing the ball all the time for obvious reasons. So it just hasn't all clicked yet for the run game. I think we will see plenty of big plays this year from Martinez as well as Sam Brown. I think everybody just has to be patient. These are proven guys in college football that were considered at the top of their positions in the transfer portal.
And just to clarify, Gary, he didn't have a 50-yard catch. He had 50 yards receiving in the game. He had a 36-yard catch.
36-yard catch.
Yeah. But yeah, still, I mean,
I got the number one, but it was an impressive.
It was a great play, great, yeah, wide open, but a good play by him. Yeah.
Okay, I want to just say one last thing to Matt. Trump 2024.
Oh my God! Here we go. Here we go.
Because I know you're a Democrat. You're a Democrat, Matt. I know you are.
Thanks for taking it easy on me, Greg. I really appreciate it.
Matt, I like you.
You're a sweetheart. You're such a sweetheart. I love you. I love you too, Greg.
All right. Have a great night.
Thanks for ruining my life, Greg. Thanks for ruining my life.
All right, we need a little relief from that call, so I'm gonna go to our man T-Dog, man. Yeah, I hope you got some pictures for us tonight or something, man. We need some fat Cuda on this show because
he's on mute. He's got to get off mute. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, take yourself off mute. But yeah, all hell's breaking loose, T-Dog. Why can't we hear you? Is your mic on? Get your mic on. Is it on now?
You know why, Gary? It's because it's the 15 seconds and the play clock is already expired. There's only 15 seconds left on the play clock, so you can't hear him. That's the new rule, isn't it?
Mic on?
Reset the play clock to 40 seconds.
I'll come back to you.
We just heard him. He just fixed it and you got rid of him. It's so rude.
Did you get it on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yo, go ahead. What's up, man?
So first of all,
wait, T-Dog, first of all, how do we do that to Gary? Can we figure out a way to do that to Gary?
Turn my mic off. Yeah,
I could if you want me to.
That's a good magic trick.
For starters, I like the game room.
Yeah, man, this is my basement, man. Got some cane stuff in the back. Got a gym over there. Yeah, man.
I like that pool table cover.
Yeah, man. My wife got me that for Christmas. It's
awesome.
Sweet down here, man. I stay down here all the time, watching y'all boys. Hey, man, y'all need to get a shot for me, man. I want to take a shot with y'all boys, man. Have something.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
I don't have nothing.
I got Grey Goose in here.
Water? No, man. No.
Listen, I make my own old fashions and Moscow mules, but you got to give me like 10 minutes.
Okay,
well, get the shaker out.
I'll sit it down. I got some toppings. I'll sit it down and go grab something. I want to take a shot with you boys. But
wait, I got somebody. I got somebody. No, I don't see him. He's not real. I got somebody to do a shot with you, but
okay, bet.
He's missing in action right now.
So first question, and kind of to piggyback on what we've been talking about tonight. I don't know, man. Martinez and Brown, and I know I've been going off on the board about it. They just don't do it for me, bro. Like, especially when you consider that they got NIL dollars. Like, if these were just guys that we recruited and they were like this, okay. But the fact that we went out and got free agents and they're performing like this, I just expected more, especially with Martinez. Like, yeah, he got loose on that one pass, but like anybody could have caught that. He was wide ass open. It was a great scheme by Dawson. And even when he ran, it was like he was running so stiff and shit. Like, it was like he just doesn't get loose to me. Like, could you imagine if that was like, I don't know, what's my young running back, my freshman who just had the
Jordan
90-yard touchdown.
Jordan Lyle.
Imagine that was Lyles with that openness right there. He would have got loose, man.
Let me call a timeout here. What does this guy have to do to impress people? Okay, let me tell you what this guy's done the last couple seasons.
Perfect example. Look at Cam.
Okay, but 1 second. Okay, 2022, he had 982 yards rushing, average 6.1 yards a carry. 2023, he had 1,185 yards. This guy was a 1,000-yard rusher in college football last year, averaged 6.1 yards a carry. Okay, and now we're saying that his 36-yard pass reception against South Florida was meaningless and didn't impress anybody. Like, I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm trying to make it make sense to everybody. This kid is a flat baller, man. And the other reason that I will tell you that they wanted him on this roster is who's the one closest to him? Mark Fletcher. Okay, who has the greatest injury history at the running back position? Mark Fletcher. If you don't think when they get to these games later in the year that they need a running back who can pick up the tough yards inside and is that type of power back, when they get into talking about playing Texas or Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State, like, you don't think you're going to need guys that can, when you're playing teams that have more speed or as much speed as you, the guys that can pick up 3-4 yards on first down? You guys are kidding yourselves. You're getting deceived by who we're playing and the easiness of these games. You need players like Damian Martinez. You need players like Mark Fletcher. It helps to have multiples of them because if one gets dinged up, you've got the other. Otherwise, you can play them both. You're going to see a lot of big plays. We still got 8 regular season games, hopefully an ACC title game, and then hopefully multiple playoff games. I believe you will see a lot of big plays from Martinez and from Sam Brown. Both are proven over multiple seasons in college football.
Damn, man, this must be what it feels like to just sit here and listen to this dude talk.
Thank you, T-Dog. Good luck.
Yeah.
Listen, here, let me translate what T-Dog said to you, Gary. Since
T-Dog, I got a mute button too, so you're on mute now. So I don't even have to listen to you if I don't want to. I could just put you on mute.
Here's what T-Dog was trying to say to you that you didn't seem to want to hear. Okay.
Yes.
What other fans have said when they watch Damian Martinez in games at Miami. Not at his previous stop, okay, at Miami in 4 games when they watched Damian Martinez, he's dancing behind the line. He doesn't look as fast through the line, doesn't look as explosive as the 3rd and 4th team running backs. And T-Dog wants to know why that is, and you won't answer it.
I did answer it. He's not comfortable in the offense yet. He got here late. He only had training camp. He didn't have a spring practice. He missed a lot of summer workouts. He was in Tampa. We wrote stories about it. Matt, I think you wrote the story. I mean, he was hanging out in Tampa while the team was here working together and building chemistry and polishing up on the offense and things like that. His mind is racing. Like,
T-Dog, what I will say, T-Dog, is I think that you will see a lot better from Damian Martinez moving forward starting this week. I agree with you. He has not looked good enough, period. He is not.
It's possible, but my only, I guess, rebuttal to that is the running back position is the one position that usually translates like immediately, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take a lot of time to see a guy pop. So
he's 100%
that's
right,
my
Gary.
only reservation about those comments.
Preach. He's telling the truth, Gary. How do you respond to that?
Now, he's got 40 carries for 190 yards, averaging 4.8. Has 4 touchdowns, okay? Now, granted, it's not the 6.6 yards a carry that he's averaged in his career. No argument. He's not getting the 6 yards a carry. He's only getting 4.8.
But that's Pac-12.
That's not terrible.
That shit don't matter over there to me. Like, that's not real. They don't play defense over there, so I expect everybody to get loose over there. What is he doing when he played ACC, SEC, big lines of scrimmage football? Like, that's what matters to me. Everybody balls out over there on the West Coast because, first of all, nobody's up watching it, and second of all, they don't play any defense over there. So my second question though, and this one was really concerning me because when we recruited this guy, I thought that he would be like a faster Xavier. Ray. Do you think he's a candidate to transfer after this year?
I do.
Yeah.
It's sad, man, because I saw so much potential with this kid, man. But he just doesn't look right when he gets on the field. It's just he like falls over his feet. I expect him to like get loose on punt returns, on kick returns. I just don't see. I don't know if the weight gain has changed his dynamic.
You hit it on the head. I said it this spring when I saw him. I said that he put on too much weight.
Yeah.
And now he's just pressing out there, man. Every time there's an opportunity, he feels like I have to hit a home run. And in baseball, if you're trying to hit a home run, you're going to strike out.
Yeah.
And he's striking out, like fielding the ball inside the 5 twice, not just once but twice. he's not going to get a lot of opportunities at this point from what I've seen.
And I guess my last question is, I know Cam is one of one. First of all, I'm so ecstatic that we got this kid. I'm coming down Friday. I'm bringing my little guy with me. We're flying down Friday for the game. My pops, he's been having season tickets for, 20 years. We sit right on the 8 yards from the 8 rows from the 50 at the bottom on section 119. So I'm bringing him down for that game, and I can't wait to see Cam in person. But my question to y'all is, do you think Mario put a lot of emphasis going forward when recruiting quarterbacks to have those intangibles? I think as fans, we get caught up in the arm. Chicks love the long ball, right? We get caught up in the arm and all that. Even now with the mobility, we want somebody that can scramble. But what about those intangibles? To me, and me personally, from what I've been hearing, I got some folks that work for the university. Like Mario has been saying in the press conferences, his intangibles has changed this team. He's given them confidence. He's challenged them. He's held them accountable. Like, how do you recruit that? Like, how do you find that, And to me, that is the ultimate recruiter. If you can find that in a person when you're recruiting, because we can all see the external things, but how do you find that? And do you think he would put a lot of emphasis on that going forward, or would he just go and find the next guy that can just throw the ball far as hell?
You want me to answer that, or are you answering it, Gary?
Yeah, Matt. Go ahead, man.
All right, so it's the same as recruiting. For Mario, it's the same as recruiting any position, right? He recruits first by character, and he recruits second by skill, and you got to have both, right? And you don't necessarily know what you're getting. They don't go by, thank God they don't go by rankings. I mean, yes, they want their players ranked highly. Of course, you want to be a top 10 class, but they want to take guys that are just playmakers, plain and simple. At the same time, it has to be a match. Quarterback's a weird position to recruit, right? Because you're only taking one most cycles, and you got to hit on it every year. And when you don't, the nice thing now is you just go to the transfer portal. Can you imagine if the portal didn't exist and Cam Ward had to sit out a year? He would never be here. We'd be looking at a 3 or 4 loss team, in my opinion. That's how much of a difference Cam Ward makes. But with Miami's NIL situation, with the quarterback being so important, I don't see a year moving forward where Miami is not going to have a great quarterback. Because if, let's say, Emory Williams, who I personally think is the next guy up, if they don't think he's going to be the next guy, really sure of it, then they could just spend another $1.5 million next year and grab someone in the portal. I mean, it's not that big a deal anymore. Cam Ward didn't grow up in the Mario Cristobal culture.
Yeah.
But he has the Mario Cristobal culture within him. You can find that. It's out there. And they would just keep doing that. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not I talk all the time, next year everyone's leaving, right? And they have to restock. And that tends not to be very easy for the FSUs and these other programs that try to do it. It hasn't proven to be successful. But at the quarterback position, it can be, right? So as long as Mario's recruiting the right guys and not trying to load up 10 transfer portals guys every year, you can spend your $1.5 million, $2 million and get the quarterback you need every single freaking year if that one recruit you're taking every cycle doesn't pan out, in my opinion.
It's funny in that regard. Up in Tampa this week, people were speculating that Byron Brown, the South Florida quarterback, might just want to be next year's Cam Ward at Miami. And what would that mean for Emory Williams if that was the case? And this is going to be a
is he that caliber of a passer though?
Huh?
Did you think he was that caliber of a passer though?
No,
he was okay.
He was okay.
Yeah,
he's not Cam Ward. I agree with you. I don't think that's a guy. Yeah, I don't think that's a guy I'm chasing.
I'm a big Emory believer. I mean, Emory's he's not Cam Ward in the same style, but he's every bit as accurate of a passer, and can do it great job. Hey, T-Dog, I want to get your opinion on this because you're known for a little flash on the message boards and stuff.
Of course, that's how I live. I'm from the 954. I went to school with Al Blaze. Rest in peace, baby.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Our buddy C. Wright, he's talking about Cam and his taunting, and I asked Shannon Dawson about that play this week. I thought it was awesome. I was like, wow, I've been doing this a long time. I've never seen that. I mean, he goes up to the line of scrimmage. He's pointing at the defensive players. He's showing them where the play is going and telling them exactly where they're running the ball. They end up doing what he said and scoring easily. And I mean, that had to be demoralizing for those guys on South Florida's defense.
I got 4 letters for that. AILI. What does that mean? I've been putting it on the board for over a decade. AILI, and I love it. Come on, baby. Yes, taunt.
Yeah, I loved it too. I couldn't tell Matt. I don't know if Shannon Dawson loved it. he kind of didn't like the
Come on,
subject.
of course he didn't love it. What coordinator wants his quarterback telling the other team what the play is? Are you kidding me?
Oh man, he's from Louisiana, man. He is a good man. He loves that shit. Trust me, he loves it. He's not gonna say it because he's got to be professional. That's the hat he's got to wear on the mic. But I promise you, in the locker room, he was talking that shit too. Yeah, man.
He said he didn't realize it until he watched film. By the way, he didn't even know in the locker room. That's what he says. He says he didn't know until he watched film that Cam was pointing. That's what he says.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
Okay, well, trust me, he didn't mind it, man. We got a bunch of savages as coaches as well, which I love. That helps the culture. I don't want no more nice guys. I don't want any more salesmen, the Goldens of the world. No, man, that's not what we were. That's not our foundation. That's not what South Florida is about. We flashy. That's why I'm flashy on the message board. We're flashy. That's where I'm from. It's in my fabric. You feel me?
Yep.
Yeah,
I loved it, but I'm telling you right now, I don't think Shannon Dawson loved it. I really don't.
You better get used to it.
I think he told Cam, don't do that again.
Hey, but that's what makes that guy tick, man. Like, you can't take that away. I mean, you got to control it. Obviously, don't get crazy with it. But no, man, you can't strip that away from that guy, man. That's what makes Cam Cam. Yeah. So,
all right, T-Dogs. Cheers, buddy. Come back on next week.
Next time I'm on, y'all better have some drinks in your hand.
Yes, sir. Have a good trip down.
A little vodka or something, man.
I'll bring something.
I got it, man. There's vodka in here.
I'll have some pictures in the background next time.
All right, T-Dog.
All right, man.
Thanks, man. Good seeing you. All right.
I got a nice tequila I'll break open for next week. I didn't realize we were drinking on this show. Maybe it'll make me happier. Maybe this will brighten up a little bit if I have a couple of drinks. That's not a bad idea.
All right. Well, it's the point in the show where we let you go to sleep. So any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I want to thank Greg for absolutely destroying my life. I'll never be the same. And I'll see you next week.
All right, Matt. Thanks as always, man. We all love you. We'll see you next week. You guys have no idea. Like, I'm in Tampa the other night, and I went to dinner at Burns Steakhouse, and we had a whole bunch of Canes fans there. Like, it was packed with Canes fans, and man, more people wanted to talk to me about Matt than like any other subject. They didn't want to know about Cam Ward. They didn't want to know about Damian Martinez, Sam Brown, nothing. They want to talk about Matt. Like he's got his whole fan club brewing out there in the internet universe. All right, we're gonna be joined by the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner, here in a minute. But let's take a moment first and let's hear from our friends at CaneSport.
Welcome to CaneSport. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, CaneSport has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
And if you guys haven't loaded up on your merchandise for the season, CaneSport really is the spot where Miami fans shop. I think it's the best Canes store out there now, loaded to the gills with stuff. And, they have something for everybody. I mean, men, women, kids, pets, babies, whatever is in your family or whoever your significant other is or whatever, you can find something for them at CaneSport. And game Friday night against Virginia Tech. If you don't have, let's say you haven't been tailgating and you'd like to start, you can do it Friday night. No big deal. You just go by CaneSport on your way to Hard Rock Stadium. They're 15 minutes north of the stadium. They'll load you up with tables, chairs, everything that you need to tailgate. You get yourself a Cam Ward jersey so you look good out in the parking lot. CaneSport will hook you up. And listen, they're next to a sub shop. If you need food for your tailgate, La Spada's, man, best subs in South Florida. You can go by there. So they'll even hook you up with Dolphins, Panthers, and Inter Miami gear. So CaneSport is more than a store. It is an absolute experience for the Canes Fair. So check them out at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, if you live in South Florida. Like I said, 15 minutes north of Hard Rock, right there on University Drive. Or if you live out of town and you can't make it to the store, you can go to caneswear.com, 877-365. So visit the store at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or go to caneswear.com to get the Caneswear experience into your life and load up on all your Miami Hurricanes gear. And now I'm going to bring on a guy that does spend a lot of time at Caneswear. That's the voice of the fan. Keeps wanting to call himself the truth teller. I mean, I
didn't call myself
I
anything.
said you're the damn voice of the fan. Why are you the truth teller? Like, what the hell?
Because that's what I am on the other show.
I'm losing all kinds of control here, man. You got to like change your little thingy. Like,
I got to keep changing it every time I'm on a different
you're the
show.
voice of the fan.
Okay, well, that's the name you gave me.
What is in the mind of the fan here, Bruce? I don't know where you just saw. There you are. You're sitting here 4-0. I think everybody concedes that haven't really, played anybody significant to this point. What's the mindset of the fan?
My mindset is I'm not worried about Friday. I don't think Virginia Tech is that good. You could hype them up as much as you want. I don't think anybody's stopping our offense. This kid is so good. It's like hard to believe how good he is. And one of the reasons I think that the running game isn't so great as people are expecting it, we're not running the ball 7-8 times in a series. We're throwing the ball. And why should he stop throwing the ball? These kids are wide open. So he has no rhythm. Fletcher has no rhythm. I mean, Allen got in, did okay. And, of course, Jordan Lyle, he just skipped to the left and took off. Wow, is that kid great. But you're not really relying on the running game. So what do you expect? He gets the ball every 7 or 8 minutes.
Totally
I'm
agree.
not worried about it at all. Not at all. And if they're not going to stack 8, 7, or 8 in the box, you'll see him run down people's throats. That's all. That's how I look at it.
Yep.
I'm not worried.
I'm with you 100%. If you look at the stat sheet, Damian Martinez has 40 carries in 4 games. He's averaging 10 carries a game. Mark Fletcher's got 21 in 4 games. He's averaging 5 carries a game. AJ Allen has 17 carries in 4 games. That's a little more than 4 carries a game. Jordan Lyle has 29. He's averaging about 7 carries a game. And because of that long 91-yard run the other day, he's actually the leading rusher on the team, even though he's only averaging, 7 carries a game. So yes, we have not even begun to see the running game. No argument, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
But Gary, that explains it. I mean, it's you could easily figure it out. They're not depending on the run. If they were running 40 times and only had 96 yards, I'd be concerned. I don't think we should. And not only that, but the backs are catching balls out of their backfield, which is making everybody think, I got to cover this guy out in the flat too now. So their offense is so far ahead of anybody else. And you could talk about Vatek's defense, and they're aggressive. They're going to get destroyed. They don't have anywhere near the firepower that we have. So I'd lay the points. I'm not a gambler, but Miami's going to win by at least 20 points, maybe more.
All right, let's go out to Adam. Adam, welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing this week, man?
Good, Gary. Good, Bruce. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. You look relaxed. Look at you.
I am. I just put my daughter down to sleep. So.
Oh, that's good. How old?
She's 20 months.
Oh, wow. That is great.
Thank you.
Great time of life, man.
Yes. And I'm going to train her to be a Canes fan. So
there we go.
There's no other way.
Exactly.
I taught I have 4 granddaughters, 3, 2, 1.5, and 1. I taught the 3-year-old this, but they're all Florida State now. So now they make her do this. But when I'm there, she knows that Papa Brucey's there. So she goes like this.
Nice.
So anyway, that's great. What's up?
A couple things. One, was playing South Florida last week good for preparing for Vatek this week? Because Drones is more of a running quarterback, and I know they have this guy, I think Jennings, on the outside, but other than that, they're very limited in the pass game.
I think it's good for playing everybody because we were challenged for the first time. I mean, we were losing that game in the second quarter. I never felt that they were going to lose the game. I thought it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I can't believe I felt that way because we were down by 2 points, I think, at one point and 1 point the other point. But I mean, I thought in the big picture, it was important that this team went through that experience of having to respond at being challenged by another team. And I thought they grew incredibly. I love the way they took charge of the game, not just in the third quarter, but at the end of the second half. in putting those points on the board, having the big play. I could not have been happier by just the entire experience of South Florida, beginning with the preparation for the game, because they did enough stuff schematically on both sides of the ball that game week preparation was the most significant it had been all week too.
Yeah, they had two offensive groups of offenses going against them in practice, so it would really come as close to as they could make it. It seemed as if they were playing against South Florida, because you can't use one offense against our defense and expect these guys to go flying back to the line of scrimmage. So they had a second team unit ready to go within a few seconds of the ball being down, and that was part of the preparation. And the other thing, Gary, if Jacoby George doesn't drop that pass right in his hands, who knows what would have happened? They may have scored another touchdown, but you know what they did? They stopped them and held them to a field goal. That's all part of them learning and making sure that the game doesn't get away from them. In years past, they would have given up a touchdown, and who knows what would have happened. Yeah. So Gary's right, and I think you agree, Adam. They had some adversity, and they just blew right past it.
No, especially. I think we scored, 36 unanswered?
Yes.
Starting with the Brown touchdown. And I do like the adjustment that Guidry made at halftime, because they went from scoring, I think, every possession to nothing. I think they punted twice or something and threw 2 interceptions.
Right.
A couple other things. One, I heard Jesse Palmer in week 1, and then Louis Riddick echoed it. Do you see Elijah Arroyo in the same mold as like a Jimmy Graham, as like that athletic tight end?
100%.
Yeah, but I think he's a little thicker than Jimmy was, although Jimmy was big. He might be a better football player, because Jimmy played in his senior year, Gary, when Randy was there.
Yeah.
And then he got into the pros, and he stood out. He was able to catch bombs and things like that. Yeah, I think he may be an overall better football player than Jimmy.
Jimmy
Graham.
got good in the NFL.
He got
good in the NFL because he really didn't play college football other than after he'd already played basketball. But yes, the NFL is going crazy about Elijah Arroyo. They love what they see. It's looking to me right now like he will be a second-round draft pick in April if he stays on this track, and that's awesome for a tight end.
And stays healthy. He does have the injury history like Fletcher does, so he has to be healthy. Yes. And I hope for his sake he is, because he's very good.
So you don't see any way that he would stay one more year, because I think he's a redshirt sophomore. And
I don't think so. I really don't.
If he does really well, why would he risk getting hurt again? Get the money and run. I'd love to see him stay, but why would he? Well, you also have the guys behind him that are pretty damn good.
Yeah, he keeps doing what he's doing. There's going to be no upside for him.
Right.
Like he's going to get drafted high. It will be time for him to go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the good thing that Mario's done is he's built up depth, and that's what it was in the early 2000s. You had younger underclassmen behind the more established players.
Right.
So even in receiver, you lose George and Restrepo, you still have JoJo Trader and Nye Carr right behind him.
Yeah.
So a couple
more. There'll be more. They'll recruit more.
No, and that dovetails nicely into my next question. Seeing what Florida is in the dumpster fire, and assuming Napier gets fired, which will probably happen, I'm assuming based on what I've heard. Do you see us having the opportunity to flip not only Ben Hanks but also Vernell Brown and what's his name, Moore?
Joshua Moore.
Yeah,
100%. Now. Listen, let's be honest. If Lane Kiffin gets that job like everybody thinks he's going to,
it'll be tougher.
It will be tougher. Like that would give Florida a lot of juice if they can lure Lane Kiffin. No argument at all.
I don't think he's going to go there.
I don't know. I don't know how we don't know how he feels about Ole Miss, but I know he's Florida's number one target.
Of course he is.
And if and money won't be an issue. So if they can get him to come to Gainesville, all bets are off. And that will become a recruiting battle and challenge every single year.
Yeah, but our foundation is built. Theirs isn't. Theirs is a house of cards, and it's already fallen down, and he can't rescue it. So if he goes there, it's going to take him, just like Mario, a couple of years to build it up. But good luck to him. He's going to have to recruit head-to-head with Mario Cristobal. So
good
as he is, but still.
I saw somebody this week make the comment, about Florida that they've never invested in their program. The stadium is the same old stadium. That's the swamp. Whatever. But there's nothing great or flashy about the stadium. They do have an indoor now, so that's gotten better. But probably have not invested in their program to the degree that they should have in those years where they were winning national titles. And I think that's caught up to them a little bit. But if they can lure a coach like Lane Kiffin that gets all those Bull Gators all excited, I think their fundraising will take off, and they will come back relatively quickly.
Okay. And my final question, and again, do you see there's a teammate of Luke Nickel who's an FSU commit, who's a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Besides him and obviously DJ Pickett, are there any other candidates for flip watch to Miami?
The Tyler Williams kid, I know they haven't given up on. Joshua Moore, as we know.
They want Wiley.
Yeah, and there'll be more that'll come up in the portal too. Don't forget about the portal, because they haven't even gotten started there yet. So I feel pretty confident that they're going to add a few receivers to this team here in recruiting before the end of the year.
Hey, Gary, wasn't there a lot of talk about the Solomon kid from Florida State flipping to Miami? I haven't heard that in weeks.
A little bit.
Is he solid to Florida State?
And I heard even our Alabama commit was visiting Auburn, although I don't know with Auburn's quarterback situation why anybody would want to go there right now.
Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins, man. A lot of these kids are just looking for the highest bidder.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And Miami's trying to stay away from that. Miami's very competitive NIL wise, but they've kind of learned their lesson the hard way that you got to have a plan and they have a scale for high school kids, and they're not really willing to deviate from it very much for most kids. They'll step up for like a Cam Ward for obvious reasons. Yeah. But look at some of these kids that they saw, the Achimapong kid, Jaden Wayne. These were all expensive high school recruits. Even Samson Okunola now, we don't know if he's going to develop or not develop. Yeah. He was the pancake honcho. He was supposed to freaking have a line of pancake mix with John Ruiz when he got recruited. Whatever happened to that?
But his high school competition was not so good. Correct. And I think it's showing now. He doesn't have the skill set yet. He's got the size and he had the nickname, but who knows? But there was no comparison between him and CC.
Yeah.
But they've learned their lesson about getting into big bidding wars for high school kids.
And that's why we walked away from Menendez or whatever his name was.
Yeah, they weren't 100% sold on him anyway.
Right.
Okay.
And when he started playing that game, it was like, okay, goodbye.
Okay. And hopefully we get Kellen Wiley and all's well that ends well.
Yeah, or somebody else who might emerge this season, or a stud in the transfer portal that might appear, like a Kiko Manoa. It's all unknown right now.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking my call. Have a great rest of the show.
Anytime, Adam, man. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks for the call. Hey, Gary, what are your thoughts on Ward tipping off? Everybody's talking about Dawson just now. What do you think Mario thinks about that?
I don't know, man. I
don't think
I had no problem with it because I was entertained as hell by it. But I could see where a Mario might say, "Hey, Cam, come on, man. We don't need to do that. We don't need to be doing that." That's his instinct. Okay, that's not a phony baloney thing like that. His instinct is to do that, is to exude that kind of confidence, to work the minds of the opponent. But what if you don't win the game?
Right. What happens if you fumble and they laugh at you?
And then you look like a fool. Yeah. Right. I could see Mario wanting to tamp that down. I can. They want to stay focused on the big prize here this year. But at that moment, I got an absolute kick out of it. Like everybody else.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see the kid with the turnover chain?
I did.
And I don't know if Mario saw that.
That came from the stands.
He got it from the stands, and then he had it on, and then they panned to something else. And as soon as they panned back to him, he didn't have it on anymore. Somebody must have said, "Get that off."
There's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
That I can flat tell you, Mario would tamp.
But it wasn't the kid's fault. He should have said, "No, I don't want it." But he put it on for a second,
Yeah.
He took it off, and I think Mario.
Listen, it was spontaneous. It was fun for a second.
Right, I agree.
I don't think anybody was worse for the wear there. All right, let's go to BK Hurricane. What's up, man? How are you? Sorry, didn't mean to wake you up. I know you've been patiently waiting.
Gary, Bruce, what's going on?
How are you,
you
man?
tell us, man, what's going on?
Listen, I wish Matt was on for just 1 second, just so I could ask him, why does he believe that Virginia Tech is underrated? Underrated teams.
I'll answer
underrated teams don't lose the way they lose.
Yeah, he and I have talked about this. They have a lot of players back from last year, and teams like that, like I looked at Vanderbilt, for example. I don't know if I still have it on my screen here. Okay, so everybody made a big deal at the beginning of the year. Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech 34-27, right? And then Vanderbilt the next week beat Alcorn State 55-0. So Vanderbilt's looking pretty good. They beat what people thought were a good Virginia Tech team that people were thinking could challenge for the ACC title, right or wrong.
Right.
And then they blow out Alcorn State like they should have, whatever.
What happened in the third game? Didn't they play
wait a minute. The next week they lose 36-32 to Georgia State.
Yeah.
Like, how do you explain that? And then last week they come out and they're playing at Missouri, number 11 in the country.
Almost beat them.
And they almost beat them. It was an overtime game. So these teams that are at this level is what I'm getting at, are very inconsistent. Okay. Right. And they're going to be okay 1 week, and then the next week they're going to suck, and you may never get a handle on them the whole year. But the general feeling is that Virginia Tech does have some players. They have guys that have played a reasonable number of games in college football, and if their coaches put a good game plan together, that they can challenge Miami. And the odds makers believe that because they're giving Virginia Tech more street cred than they did South Florida. So we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, if Miami keeps playing offense the way they're playing offense, they're going to be very hard for anybody to beat because, you're going to need an offense and a defense. And the only team I see that might have that is Louisville, but we'll see.
Yeah.
If you call 18.5 point street cred, that's an absurd number for anybody.
Number, man. That's a high number, BK.
That is a ridiculous number for a team that's supposed to be good.
I know, but remember, we're at home this week. Okay, so last week we were on the road with a similar line, but the point is that the guys out in Vegas, they think Virginia Tech is better than South Florida. Yeah, right or wrong, I have no idea. I'm just telling you what they think, and they tend to know.
This is like Mike Tyson early in his career. This guy's good. That guy, he knocked them all out within a minute or two. And Miami's playing so consistent and so at such a high level. I just don't see them staying with us for 60 minutes. I can't believe they would even come close.
I have to go. Hey, listen, I have to go with Bruce because Virginia Tech could have a bunch of good players that played last year. But the only difference is, when was the last time you seen a Miami Hurricanes team roll out the B team and the C team, and they look good?
Yep.
100.
Yeah, they do look good.
No doubt
absolutely. About it. There's not much of a drop off.
It's been a long time.
Yep.
Think 2000, 2001, 2002.
Yeah. I don't think
that was the last time you. That was the last time you've seen anything like it. So all these teams that are returning good players, once you get past those players, what do they have?
Right. And what's their bench look like?
Yeah.
What does their bench look like?
Nothing.
Who wouldn't want Jordan? Right now, what team in college football wouldn't want Jordan Lyle on their team?
Not a single one. Yeah.
Right now, which team in college football wouldn't want? Who's the tight end? Oh my God, what's his name?
Riley Williams. Riley Williams is good too. He's the backup.
Who wouldn't want Riley Williams right now?
No argument. And how about this? How about the guy that hasn't even gotten started? And that's Elijah Lofton. I'm telling you, he's a freshman.
Yeah, he's really good.
And the one time he gets into a game, what does he do?
Makes a play. That kid
makes the play.
We haven't had Bain except for 3 or 4 plays, and we're still beating the crap out of teams without Bain, no less.
We're beating the crap out of team without Bain. We're beating the crap out of team without Rivers. We're beating the crap out of team without Brown. everybody's questioning our secondary, but I say your quarterback has to be upright in order to throw the ball downfield.
Yeah. But and also what you want to do this week is what we did last week is jump out ahead, make them a one-dimensional team. You can't run to beat a team like Miami. You got to throw the ball. You got to be. But I don't think that Virginia Tech's quarterback is that accurate. I just don't see how they could stay on the field with us. They would.
I mean, he's a hype machine. He's not that great.
Block punts. They would need to block a punt, block a field goal, an interception. Something stupid like that to stay in the game. And I just don't see that happening with this team.
I just don't see it happening. Miami, call it what you want. It's a perfect storm for us this year.
Mm-hmm.
The ACC is very mid, very mid. I'm not sold on Clemson yet. They beat a team they were supposed to beat, essentially. They beat somebody they were supposed to beat. And that's how a good team beats a team you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Louisville yet. But the one team that I am sold on,
BK, they play Notre Dame this weekend. I think we're all going to find out a lot about Louisville.
We're going to find out really quick.
Yes, how good
what type of team Clemson is.
Them too, but
Louisville
plays
right, and Louisville. I'm sorry, right, and Louisville. Right, we're going to find out real quick what type of team Louisville is because Notre Dame is not wowing people.
Right,
but they lose to Notre Dame. I'm looking at the Louisville game like, wait a minute.
We owe them.
The only way Miami loses is if we lose.
Right.
Not that we got beat. We lost the game. We did something stupid. Somebody got hurt, and we couldn't recover.
Or somebody threw
and
4 or 5 interceptions in a national championship game. That happens.
There you go.
That's
right.
Makes me sick. Yeah.
It has to be very Testaverde-esque then.
Yes. Yes.
It has to be very right. And I don't know if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid like I said the first show of the season. Maybe I am drinking the Kool-Aid, but I haven't seen anything yet that has showed me that once we get to our second and third guys on the depth chart, that anybody could compete with us.
Yeah,
that's what was been missing for years.
But we're putting these young kids in with the starters at time. It's not coming in garbage time. They're playing real minutes.
Right, yeah.
Minutes. And they're not, there's
and
no drop.
And even when they come in garbage time, they still perform.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they do. You know what? And I said this last week, and I know Gary knows because he's been down there. I've been down there. I have not seen the togetherness on a Miami team like this
in years.
2001s and all the guys that I know from, Leon and Claude and Gino and McGuire, and Jesse, those guys were like, their practices were violent. And it hasn't been the same except the 2001s. In the last 20 years, as people were calling it, it was like a country club. It was a country club. I'm sorry. It's not a country club anymore. And these kids have all bought in. When was the last time you look at the sideline, you don't see people sitting in the seats? They're standing up. They're jumping up and down. They're into this. They want us to kick people's asses, and we're doing it. You have to be into this. Now, we lose. But if we lose, I just hope that the whole fan base doesn't blow up.
Oh, they're going to blow up depending on who we lose to.
Right. Yeah, that's true too.
They're going to blow up. If Louisville is undefeated, and we're undefeated by the time that game happens, it may not be that bad of a blow because Louisville might be somebody.
Well, if they beat Notre Dame and they beat them handily, then you got something to worry about because that means
then we'll have something to worry about.
That Brom is a hell of a coach. He's a great coach. He's out-schemed us the last few times we've played them. But you know what? It's our turn now. And I know that they're going to be so jacked for that game. I don't care if the game is in Louisville or it's in Dubai. They're going to beat these guys. I just think they're going to be very violent in that game.
Listen, you can only out-scheme a good team for so long. Like USF, they out-schemed us with that one wide receiver that they had. It wasn't even that Porter was that bad. They just picked on him in a scheme where they knew that guy would be open if they run this play every time. It wouldn't have mattered who was on him. That was their plan. USF threw everything at Miami, including the kitchen sink.
Right. But you also
including the kitchen sink.
He got a lot of balls. He caught a lot of balls, but no one's going deep on us.
No.
Nobody. And that's what they let him have the underneath stuff, but we're not going to get beat deep.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
and with our defensive line coming after these kids, they don't have a lot of time. And they hurry and they rush their throws, and it shows.
Listen, I don't know what it is, but this team just looks different. It just looks different. It feels different. They look dominant. They look good. They're making it look easy. I've never seen a Miami team in the last 20 years make any football game look
That's true.
easy.
That is true, Gary. We lost a lot of games. We lost to Butch. We lost to Middle Tennessee State. We both did the post-game show with the 6 bombs that they threw or whatever it was. We couldn't believe it. It was just like, what the hell's going on? But you're right.
They're making it look easier than practice. But listen, I don't want to hold you guys up. Go ahead, Gary. I'll be on next week.
All right, BK. Thanks for being on the show as always, man.
No problem.
I'll see you, buddy. What were you saying, Gary?
How about Manny Diaz, 4-0 at Duke? How about that, huh?
Wow. Who have they played?
Yeah, I know they haven't played anybody, but it's still kind of cool that he's 4-0.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to go to a guy that can drink with T-Dog any day of the week. That's our man, Jake. There he is.
How's it going?
T-Dog, he caught me off guard, man. I he wanted me to have cocktails, here and everything.
A bottle of wine.
What are you drinking, Jake? Wine?
Yeah, I got some red wine. That's the usual go-to.
What is it? A cab or what is it? Cab?
No, I'm drinking some Malbec. Right
okay.
now. Got some Argentinian wine. So, yeah, switching it up. We're actually we're going to be at the Kale game. We leave in about a week, and we're going to Napa before that. And going to go watch the Hurricanes kick some ass in Berkeley. So
Well, the wineries out there are spectacular.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna spend.
See if you can go to a place called Ehlers, EHLERS. The grapes crush themselves. They don't use the machinery for it.
Yep. That's the European way.
Yes, but it's delicious. Yep. All right.
Very good. So,
how far north of Berkeley is that? That's about an hour north of Berkeley.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Depends on traffic, but
it depends on traffic.
Yeah, if traffic isn't too bad, I don't think
it'll be maybe a little Saturday morning, a little drive up there. I'll have to see. But anyway, so what do you got this week, Jake?
So a couple of quick thoughts. You guys took my thunder there with Manny Diaz. Wouldn't that be wild if that was 2 undefeated teams coming into that week and that's College game day?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll make it. That's a little later, but that's November, right? Yeah.
They got a pretty easy run, so it's
they play practically nobody.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, that was a
boy. They gave up 70 points. 70 points.
Yeah, that was crazy. But the other thought I had, just a couple of quick hits. Our third string is the second best team in Florida right now. I give my buddy from UCF a hard time because he still likes to claim his fake national championship. But our third string is literally the second best team in Florida. And that's pretty wild. Well, when was the last time we had this kind of depth going into a season where, we could be down 5 starters and we're still playing super high caliber football? That's wild.
But you got to give Mario credit. He built it from the inside out. A lot of teams don't do that, but he just said, "I'm winning the trenches," and look what he's done.
Yeah,
and you can add these other speed guys whenever you want, but he's built up a foundation on both sides of the ball on the lines, and that's why we're winning. And we got
I was a Lane guy, and I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. I like the way he's doing it. I mean, just we're just beating teams up. Has a quarterback finished a game against us yet? I think we're 4 for 4 knocking out starting quarterbacks.
You're right.
Yeah. You're right.
It's pretty brutal watching it, and I love it. It's just, they're playing with violence. It is fun to watch. They're just teeing off. So Matt, Bruce, I love having you on too, but I wish Matt was on because I would question the journalistic integrity. I did have a little issue, and perhaps I'm being a hypocrite here because, I thought Mario might turn this into a boring Alabama type of team. But I didn't like some of the chirping in that game. I know we kicked the shit out of them, and it was inconsequential in hindsight. The teams in the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s, they earned the right to chirp.
What are you calling chirping? This thing when they go like this? What are you calling chirping?
Just the defensive backs and even, they were running that hurry up, and there were a lot of plays where we weren't set when they snapped the ball. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of times the cornerbacks were getting into position, the linebackers, even the defensive line. A guy would make a big play, tackle for loss, and he's barely even getting over the line of scrimmage before they hike the ball because, they're doing the dance or whatever. That is what I love about the Hurricanes, but I just don't know that we're there yet. I'm sure Mario addressed it, but
they did address it. Let me tell you in a couple of ways. Well, first of all, like you saw Mark, I don't know. This was so unlike Mark Fletcher.
Yeah,
he comes out of the locker room, okay, and immediately like they're coming out like this, and he does a quick 90-degree turn to the right, and starts taunting South Florida's bench. This is before the game, okay. Then he gets a 15-yard penalty in the first quarter. I don't know if you noticed, Mark Fletcher didn't play very much the other night.
Nope.
And I got a feeling that these were the reasons why.
After he ripped the helmet off, I think that was the end of it.
Yeah. I don't think he came back in.
No, I'm just sitting here trying to look at the halftime stats. I think they had at halftime
10 penalties or 9.
It was 5 penalties for 40 yards. I thought it was more. But they talked about those penalties. I think the first one might have been Manoa. I think it was Francisco Manoa. But they talked about it in the locker room at halftime and just stomped it down right there. That is not stuff that Mario wants any part of.
Right.
The selfish penalties and those type of things. And he will make a statement against that. And that might have been what they did with Mark Fletcher the other night. He only had a handful of
It seemed like it toned down in the second half.
Yeah,
100%.
He is not into those Miami rules that they came out with after the Cotton Bowl. He doesn't like any of this stuff and the bowing and, Anthony Hamlet with the salutes and all that stuff. He doesn't like that at all. And he just doesn't. I mean, before he even got off the plane, he said, "There's no turnover chains. We're done with that crap. That's not what we're about." And I don't blame him. He wants to run the team the way he wants to run it, not the inmates running the asylum. Because if you give him an inch, they'll take a mile. So he knows what he's doing.
I just don't think, like we haven't earned it yet. Those teams in the 80s and 90s, they could do whatever they want because week in and week out.
Look who they had as the coach. Jake, this guy's not going to go for that. I don't care if we win 100 games in a row. He's not going to change his mindset. Jimmy liked it. Dennis liked it. And the kids loved it. And everybody
I love it. I just to me, win something, then do it. Like
he doesn't want his teams to be about all that stuff.
Yeah.
He just wants them to be a kick-ass football.
No individuality, no backflips in the end zone, not doing the Fred Sanford like Randall used to do and all that kind of stuff. They don't want that. And I don't blame him. He wants the focus is on the team and winning in the culture, not any individuals. And you know who's into that? Although he does a little bit of foolishness, Cam Ward. It's all about winning for this kid. He cares only about winning. He wins the Heisman, great, but he wants to win every game he plays, and it shows.
Yeah. No, I like that swagger he's got to him, and you know what? He's delivering it every single play. I didn't like that where he gave him the play. I liked it, but I didn't. Just because, again, like the problem I have is like the guys who are delivering. Like Cam, probably not such a big deal. The guy knows he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. But it's you got some of the younger guys on the team, and you just you don't want those old habits of the previous eras creeping back in.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think everybody, unless Gary says otherwise, I think everybody's bought into what he wants. They are all
100%.
together. Somebody makes a catch, they're all jumping up and down on him. That kid had was it Moon or something at the near the edge.
Miles
He had
Moon.
an interception. The whole defensive
You
unit.
know, I got to tell you something. I've watched that kid in practice for a while now.
Good.
And he's a good player. And,
He is.
you know, I never felt like he was significantly worse than the scholarship guys.
He gave up a scholarship to come here.
I know.
He had a scholarship.
But he's not a bad player. He really isn't.
You know who's made himself better, Gary? I asked you this before the season. You said, no, he's just fodder. Ahmad Moten. He's lost weight. He's in the games. He's in the backfield. He's made him say he's running people down from behind. He's doing a hell of a job.
Isn't that such a different thing than years past? That to me is the big change that we're seeing now.
Player development.
Player development.
When was the last time? I mean, it used to be
Butch.
Guys
the last
came
time
in.
we really had player development. Butch was here.
They'd maybe develop between their freshman and sophomore year, but that was you guys mentioned with the previous call, like James Williams and Cam Kinchins. They got better freshman to sophomore year, but that was it. That was the peak. Nobody got any better. Leonard Taylor. How many other guys could we name?
Oh yeah, Leonard
Taylor. Past decade or so, like they came in and that was about as good as they got. They maybe improved the touch, but nothing more. And now you just see all these young guys getting into the game. I'm not joking with our third team being the second best team in Florida. It's nuts.
But it doesn't matter.
Here's something for you. Yeah, no, I mean, it's fun things to razz other fan bases about. That's all. But
especially after 5 glasses of wine.
Yeah, right.
You had 5 glasses of wine?
No. I'm at altitude. I'm in Salt Lake now, and no, you can't drink like that up here. You'll get plastered quick. Air's thin up here. you gotta be careful with it.
Go ahead, keep drinking. You'll get there.
Yeah. Well, we'll get 2. Oh, there goes a little. But what do you guys think? And Gary, this is probably I don't know if you put much thought into this, but to me on game days, I see Jason Taylor, and he just seems to be making a difference out there. Like 100%. That guy is. He is
all in on coaching these kids.
Yeah, he's all in, and he loves it too. Yeah, he was a little hesitant at first, but he loves it now.
So like my question with that is he a guy? I mean, I'd imagine he loves being in South Florida. He's been there for a quarter century now. I wouldn't imagine he needs the money, but like if you give him some title and move him up, do you think he's a guy that's just gonna stick around for a while?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he'll do this forever. I mean, you know, I just can't answer that right now. I'm not even sure he could answer it right now. But great job by Mario getting them to come on board.
Yeah.
And he is all in, and he is working his butt off coaching these kids and seems to love it. I'm not sure if he loves the hours or not. Don't know, but you know, usually guys in his position don't love the hours. But
it's tough hours if you don't need the money. That's for sure.
Harry, maybe you can find this out. Is he recruiting just D linemen, or because a lot of times you get areas and you're supposed to go here. I think he's just
maybe an occasional moonlight.
Yeah,
maybe an occasional moonlight if he's in a certain area or something.
Right.
But he's pretty much the recruiting the defensive lineman for sure.
As
all
he
right,
should.
Jake, we're gonna let you enjoy your wine. We'll see.
Good talk as always. We'll see you next week.
Salute, man. We'll see you next week.
Less than 72 hours, man. We'll be probably done beating up Virginia Tech. I'm looking forward to this too.
Gonna be great. All right, Sebastian, you're up, man. I see you prancing around. It is your moment.
He was prancing around last week.
Welcome back to CaneSport Live.
I was ready. I was getting ready to get my workout in. I was getting ready to hit the treadmill and and kind of go from there. You know, you got to make the most of your time. But I didn't want to miss your show tonight, Gary. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. The first comment I want to make is I don't think we have much to complain about. I think it's the first 4 games of the season. We've looked pretty good. We're encouraged by some of the young talent that we have on the team. I mean, do we need to fix the run game and start working on that? Now we get into conference play. Yeah, in any part of life, there's areas where you can improve. I don't think anyone's really satisfied, but I'd rather take this year's team that's 4-0 than last year's team that was 4-0, and then kind of.
Oh yeah.
Agree with that?
Of course,
no doubt.
So that's the first thing. I wanted to say. The second thing is, I put in a comment, I think we're beyond the point where we could trust Mario and his injury reports as far as who's going to play and who's not going to play. But the bigger question I have is, I'm really concerned about Damari Brown. Do you think we're going to see him again this year, or is it's just one of those things where like I think it was Messidor one time, and then it was like Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're out for the season.
Yeah, they were just like done for the season and stuff like that. Because I really think that's a real significant injury, being that where our depth is at on the team. Could you guys talk a little bit about that? But I'm concerned.
Yeah, we don't have a feel for that one. I know it's going to be a bit.
Mario said it's going to be a while. He's not ready. The other guys I think are going to be there Friday. Rivers and Bain will be there. If they're not there, then there must be something serious wrong.
I was hoping to see Rivers this week. Probably not Bain, and he didn't even dress or anything. But I can't complain because I thought Markel Bell held up. I don't know.
Yeah, he did, but he's not Rivers. I do think there's a pretty good chance you'll see Rivers this week, and I think there's a decent chance Bain could be back this week too.
Yeah.
Okay. Another comment I want to make is how impressed are we with the talent acquisition Mario did? Because I see a player like Elijah Lofton and Austin, EA, the defensive end, and
number 11.
He's not flashy, but he's just been very, very steady. He's given us the luxury of being able to put Ruben Bain on the shelf for a couple of weeks to get healed up. Where I thought that Ruben probably ran out of gas last year, as far as when the people started figuring him out and doubling him, and we didn't have that kind of depth. It's those little things that I see during the season, or see amongst the teams, where I really see like that is where I think makes the biggest difference. I think he's second on the team in sacks. I think he has like 2.5, him and Simeon Barrow, but he's just been real steady and.
He's a hell of a player.
He's very aggressive, and he doesn't stop to give up on plays. I see him chasing guys down from behind. I see him dropping coverage. He almost had a pick. He knocked something down in one of the games. He's in the backfield a lot, not always making the sacks or the tackles, but he's causing problems for the quarterbacks because that pocket is collapsing. And I've been saying it for years, and people are going to get mad at me because I said it on a different show. The D tackles are the key to this whole thing. Because the D tackles take up the inside of the offensive line, and that helps free up the linebackers to make plays. They hadn't had that push in years. You always watched our ends go around, and the quarterbacks would step up and have an hour to throw the ball because there was nobody in their face. Now they can't step anywhere, because there's people in their face coming from up in the front and from the side. So, Alston is good. Barron is good. Simeon Barrow is good.
Remember this, Sebastian. When they signed Elijah, they didn't have Tyler Barron yet.
Yep.
So he was signed with the idea of playing an even bigger role than he's getting to play because of the numbers, and it's going to get worse when Bain comes back. Obviously, the rotation gets deeper. But they believe in that. That kid's a good football player, and
I just think he's solid. I think when Matt talks about free agents, that's a free agent. That is somebody that he's come in, and here's what I think he's done. He's given a person like Colin McConaughey an opportunity to watch and to develop and not be rushed out on the field.
100.
You know what I mean? So next year when he comes and
Marquise Lightfoot also 100
Lightfoot too. They like these kids because we were down. I watched them practice, and I saw Jason Taylor working one-on-one, not one with 5 kids, one-on-one with McConaughey.
Yeah,
and working on his moves and working on hands. He's into these kids, and those kids are absorbing like a sponge.
Yeah, and look. the teams that's going to be playing at the end of the year are not going to be teams that's going to be laden with like freshmen and true freshmen and stuff like that. These are going to be teams that have kids that play ball before, that can rise to the moments and stuff like that. And so I think that's where that's real critical. So I wanted to be able to talk about that. How impressed
hey, one other thing I'll point out, but Bruce brought up the defensive tackles. The guy that no one's really even thinking about is Mesidor, because he's really an end playing tackle, but he is doing a really good job on the inside, and he's a big reason that the ends are shining so much. And he's another one that the NFL scouts are eyeballing really closely.
Right. Another one with a motor. Another one. Of course, he was off. He didn't play much. Didn't do anything in the spring. He was hurt. And we weren't real sure, but he was really lighting it up in fall practice. And he's another guy. And the word is penetration. These guys are getting up the field. Like remember when Russell Merlin and Cortez, they were in the backfield constantly.
Yeah.
And so that's what made our great linebackers, Armstead, Barrow, and Darren Smith so great, is because the guys in front of them were just cleaning up, and they were free to roam to make tackles.
Yeah.
And in the past, the last 7, 8, 9 years, our secondary was making tackles.
I'm also real happy with the amount of depth that we're seeing in the team. I see a kid like Ahmad Moten that comes into the game, and his pro football focus grades are pretty high. I mean, so there's not a significant drop off. And I think when we get to the second half, it seems like we're a much stronger team in the second half. I know Lance Guidry kind of talked about that. He's really preached that third quarter shutout philosophy, trying to really dominate the third quarter, meaning that you can expand the lead or you can keep your team in the game by being able to do that.
Don't you agree that when you look at them come out of the tunnel, they're much bigger than they've ever been. They're massive. Yeah. Even when you watch them come off the bus, these guys are massive.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that.
We look like a team that's built to be deep in the season.
Yes.
Like we're going to be around deep in the season. Yeah. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this game that's coming up this week. I think this point spread is way overblown. I just, we have a history of not doing well when we're favored by a lot and favored at home. I mean, I see a 27-24 type of a game. I know it doesn't seem that way, but it just seems like in the past when we're like significantly favored, sometimes we end up losing those games or we just don't play well and we barely skate out. And so I'm not, when they say play the name, not play the game, not the name on the jersey. That's the mindset I like these kids to be able to have, because we could be our worst enemy if we start believing into the hype. I don't know if you guys have any comments on that.
Yeah, you may have heard me say this before, but when Miami was the greatest program in college football, there always were 3-4 games a year.
You had Toledo.
Yeah, there were always 3 or 4 games a year that were way tighter than you ever imagined that they would be. And it's going to happen this year. Like, they were losing at almost halftime the other night. You might see something similar this week. This is a team that is capable of doing some things. Okay, I know that their season hasn't gone as well as they thought it would to this point, and a lot of people thought it would, but they are capable of doing certain things. We might see it at Cal, where they have a way better defense than anybody knows. Where I would be stunned if we didn't see it at Louisville. I mean, I'm expecting that game to go into the fourth quarter. There's going to be games that are just not so easy. Like, we can't get deceived by the way the first 4 games of the season have gone. But this is obviously a very good team. And like you said, it is built in a certain way to where they should be able to weather a lot of things. And, from there, we just see what happens,
But, Sebastian, when you look at the last 7, 8, 9 years and you look at this year's team, the differences in most aspects, coaching, assistant coaches, coordinators, talent, preparation, and Cam Ward, who's so laser focused. We didn't have that. Gary and I spent the last 2 years talking about Van Dyke, his head's not in it. He's got this, he's got that, he's got too much money. This kid doesn't have any of those. He's got more money than Van Dyke, but his head is screwed on straight. So when they got back Sunday morning, he was looking at Virginia Tech film. He does it every Sunday, the day after the game. He is so laser focused. And, and the word culture now is applicable where it wasn't before. We didn't know what was going to happen from one quarter to the next, one series to the next. I don't expect this team to drop at all. They are all laser focused. I've not seen this since the early 2000s.
Yeah,
I just haven't.
I totally agree, and it starts with Cam Ward. And I was, I had the chance to spend some time with his dad at the game on Saturday, and I couldn't gush enough about this kid and just what he's meant to the program and what he means to the other kids in the program. And those parents have done something right. They really have. I mean, he's a special young man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first pick in the draft. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. He's heads and shoulders are better than these kids.
The first pick in the draft, especially when you're picking a quarterback, I mean, that's the face of your franchise. It's one of those picks. If you get it wrong, it sets you back 5 years. That's how big of a pick.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Quinn Ewers constantly hurt.
He's going to go in the first round. He will.
He's going in the first round. I'd love to see the Giants get it because I'm a Giants fan, but they stink. It's such a bad organization. I love him.
The Dolphins go for him. He seems like the right guy for that kind of offense. So we'll see.
Well, he's going to have to slip through a lot of teams to get to the Dolphins.
Well, you don't know that, man. Dolphins are 1-2 right now, and it's not looking very good. They'll probably be picking in the top 10 in the draft. So we'll see. All right, Sebastian, anything else this week?
Let me ask you one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gary, I want two things. One, are you planning to go out to that Cal game?
I will be.
That's really interesting. I'm really worried about that game. I mean, it's going to be played at 10:30 at night. They got to go all the way on the road. You know, how many people are going to be up and is watching that?
Yeah, but it's 7:30 out there, my friend.
But they got to adjust to the time.
They'll have to go there a day early. Listen, they have an extra day. They can get there on Thursday and not.
They're going to get there Thursday.
They're going to get there Thursday. Yeah. They'll be fine.
I hope they will. They're kids, but yeah.
I wasn't impressed by them at all against Florida State. So
all right, let's have this conversation.
You can't even say that they have a good defense. Florida State's offense is horrendous. I don't see them even staying on the field with us.
Another one of those games where they should be better. Like they should be better than Cal, but it's going to be a night game on the road, like you say, 10:30 at night by their body clocks. I don't care how many. The fact that they're going 24 hours early, and like crazy things can happen, and it could be a ball game. There's no.
Did we just play a night game the other day?
Ask one more question, Gary. I know you got to let me go. This is my last.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you could just put me on hold, Gary, and even the voice of the fans. Can you give me one player that's probably an underclassman that has really, really impressed you and you're really pleased with his development so far? And you could just keep me. That'd be my last question of the night.
For me, it's Isaiah Horton.
Start with Jordan Lyle.
Well, he's a true freshman though. He said development. That's why I said Isaiah Horton because that development is through the roof.
Isaiah Horton. Well, yeah.
Isaiah
definitely.
Horton.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree. I'm pleased with some of the linemen and offensive linemen as well. But yeah. And I just hope people will look at Isaiah Horton, and because I think he's a reflection of the culture that you want, the kind of caliber of football player that you want to develop, as far as staying in the program and sticking with it, and when you get your turn, making the most of it. Thanks,
I can tell you this, Sebastian, he was not happy that Sam Brown came here, but kept his mouth shut because I was talking to Kevin Beard. He says he knows he's in competition now, but he's working hard, and this was in the spring. He's almost there. Well, he's there now because he's spectacular. And so I don't, he's happy probably that he's got Sam Brown because their offense is just unstoppable.
And they're pushing each other.
And
the other guy that's taken a big leap, Sebastian, is Francis Manoa, believe it or not. I mean, we obviously expected a lot from him. He was 5-star, one of the top recruits in the country, and he was very good last year as a true freshman. He has taken a big leap this year. He's playing at an extremely high level.
Pressures and no sacks. I mean,
correct.
And his great.
We saw that with Bryant McKinney.
Playing at a very, very high level.
Yep.
All right, Sebastian, next week, man, we'll see what happens against Virginia Tech. Thanks for being part of the show. All right, Bruce, let's hit the questions and comments here. really quick here. A lot of people have been talking about Donovan Kirk, and not Donovan Kirk. That was the other Kirk, Shamar Kirk. And
I think he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, 904 was asking, is he injured or suspended?
No,
he's not. He's just these other guys are playing so well that
including Nykar. He's got that's his main competition to get in. Carr got in. He'll play.
Yeah. Uncle Bill makes a great point here. And this is definitely part of the reason why the receivers are shining so much. Cam Ward has the ability to throw his receivers open. And that is absolutely the case. He puts the ball in the right places. Usually they're able to get yards after catch because of that. No question, Bruce, Cam Ward is a big reason why the receivers are looking so good.
Oh, yeah. But they're also getting open. I remember for years we were complaining, they're not even open. They can't get open. They're not getting off the jams. Well, they're open now. They seem like they're pretty wide open, and obviously Beard's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, a guy really stepping up. I thought the other day was De'Ani Hill.
Yes.
He's a cornerback, came from Marshall, knows Lance Guidry's defense.
Yep.
And was locked down up there at South Florida. Just really, really, really did a great job. And I said earlier that I thought the safeties are playing better than James Williams and Cam Kinchins a year ago. And
nowhere near as many mistakes. Not that many times they're overrunning or they're looking in the backfield and they get caught with their pants down. That is not happening this year.
Mayday calls it right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they are playing very rock solid mental football. Always in the right spot. Mayday continues here talking about I haven't played a single ACC team yet. Need to see it to believe it. I think Mayday, you're speaking for a lot of the fans out there, been disappointed so many times, even 2017 when they went 10-0
and they lost to Pitt.
Lost 3 in a row to end the season.
Yep. But that seemed like smoke and mirrors, that team. I don't know if they were really that good. I mean, obviously, after they killed Notre Dame, the expectations went through the roof. But, they weren't that solid of a team. This team is loaded everywhere.
Now, Sean here.
Cam Ward, the greatest quarterback you have covered.
Man, I mean, you got to understand something. I mean, I go back, Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, Vinny Testaverde, Steve Walsh, Craig Erickson, Ken Dorsey. I mean, we have some pretty good quarterbacks in this program now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying about the receivers and the running backs. Why do we have to rank them? Why do we have to say somebody was the best? They were all different and great, and so is Cam Ward. And man, I wish we had him more than 1 year.
Yeah.
Mayday again says need Jalen Rivers back. No argument at all. We've been talking about the running games, the slow starts in games.
Gary, are you going to answer the other question though? He didn't ask you if he's the greatest quarterback. Is he the greatest quarterback you've seen at Miami?
I can't say that. I mean, I didn't even mention Geno. We've had so many great quarterbacks. I mean,
he's different, that's for sure. He is different. He's different than all of them.
Different than all of them, yes.
All of them, yes.
So like what I would say is, why do we have to compare him to those other guys? I mean,
we haven't really seen him in the clutch yet.
If
Florida State was good this year, then we can make a case. But they're terrible. We should run them into the ground.
Mayday's on a roll tonight. He makes the case that the running backs are running against the worn-down defense in the second half of games, and that's why the running game has been doing good in the second half and not in the first half. There's a lot of truth to that.
Well, why should we throw the ball if we're up by 20, 30 points? Let the runners run the ball. That's probably the reason.
Yeah. Mad Rapper likes the air raid principles that spread the ball around to a lot of players, emphasizing balance with at least a 75% pass ratio compared to 25% run. That's the way it is right now.
Right.
I'm not really sure that that's what they really want. Like, I think Shannon Dawson would much prefer to be 50-50. But the way that teams are defending them, the success that Cam Ward is having, the fact that he is in the Heisman Trophy race to the point where Most people around the country think that he is the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. Like, do you know what it would mean to Miami football for Cam Ward to come here as a transfer for his last year and win the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah.
Miami becomes the top destination for every top transfer for the next several years.
Yes. And look, they have good quarterbacks coming in. That Coleman kid looks pretty good. They're getting the Georgia kid. They're pretty set, at quarterback. But it doesn't matter. They need to look, that everybody says the same thing, and ESPN, they could say what they want. They want Miami back. Everybody wants to use that phrase. The Canes are back. Miami's back. Mario's not using it because he doesn't want to get involved with that stuff. But if that's what it takes for ESPN to have us on all the time and talk about how we're back, and they watch how we play, and it's all fun. We play with fun. I think most of these Florida kids are not going to be heading out to other parts of the country anymore, for the most part.
Rocky wants us to go open bar on CaneSport Live. I'll tell you, man, T-Dog, he put a lot of pressure on tonight, and then of course Jake with his Napa wine, and man, he's going to be even more loaded up when he goes out to Cal and visits some of those vineyards before the game. I don't know. We may have to consider it, Bruce. We may have to go open bar on
I'll
CaneSport.
chip in.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. G Nice, as a continuation of what we were just talking about, says that Emory is the man for next year. I would agree with that, but I got to put an asterisk on it because the way Cam Ward is playing, I do think that any top shelf quarterback is going to want to come to Miami through the portal. And listen, if there's somebody as good or better than Emory that wants to come, they're going to take him. I think Mario's proven this. Okay. We had pretty good defensive ends. We went out and got Tyler Barron. How good is that guy? That guy might be a first round draft pick. We had defensive tackles. We went out and got Simeon Barrow. He looked pretty good to me against South Florida. He's hitting his stride. But
that would mean that I would see Emory's going to be gone and Poffenbarger will be gone too if they bring in somebody else.
I don't see has a future. Yeah, but I don't think Emory is racing out the door. I think Emory will get his red shirt this year, and he will be ready to compete in spring practice. Now, if they are able to get somebody that might be better than him and he's number 2 again,
that's what I meant.
That would be a decision he would have to make.
Yeah.
He would be in his third year now out of a potential 4 to 5. I think, him and his family might evaluate a little more at that point, but I certainly don't think there's any panic in them this year. And either way, I do think that he is going to earn a decent NIL deal after this season.
Yeah,
I think Reese, there's a decent chance Reese will be a casualty of that. You just can't have all these, you just can't have so many guys.
Yeah, and they still have the other kid. What's his name? Anderson. They still have him.
They have him. Yeah. Next question comes with Justin Scott. This one's interesting because, you talk about some of the freshmen we were talking about, like Marquise Lightfoot, for example, how great it is that he's going to be able to redshirt this year, and some of the other ones.
Well, he needs weight. He needs to add weight.
100%.
Strength and weight. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Justin Scott is a little bit of a different case. He's probably ready to play this year. But let me tell you something. The fact that they don't have to play him is such a huge deal. Like, such a huge deal. And I don't know if he'll end up blowing his year of eligibility or not.
How many games has he played, Gary?
I believe 2. But I don't think he played. I'm going to look really quick at the participation chart from last game. I'm not sure I remembered seeing him out there.
I know I saw him on the field after the game, but I don't know if I saw him on the field.
No, he was there, but I don't think he got in the game. No, he did not.
All right.
Oh no, he did. He did.
I did see him in the game. Yeah.
He did at the end. So that's 3 now. He's not going to redshirt this year.
Right. He's not going to redshirt.
It looks like that, but I would argue maybe he should have. But this kid's going to be a stud. Okay, right. You're going to get at least 2 years of stud out of him. He will be a starter next year, I'm pretty sure. But the fact that they didn't have to ask him to do that this year, to me, is huge because he can develop at a fair pace. JR Barr's coming after you now, Bruce. He says you're the only reason you're the truth teller is because everybody else lies their ass off. I don't know about that, but
I don't know about that.
I
didn't give that moniker to me. That came from Alex Dono. That's where I got that from. But I'm not calling myself that.
Like Armando, listen, I'll spar, okay, if you want, but I don't flop. Like I don't know where that's coming from. Like I'll just lay it out there and tell you what I think. Won't be right all the time, like anybody else, but I don't go back and forth on guys and things. Trail Boss wants to get on the show still. We're about at the end of the night tonight, Trail Boss, but make sure you email us next week and you will be able to get on the show for sure.
Where do you flip flop?
I don't flip flop at all. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I'm definitely not a flip flopper, man. I'll go down with the ship. Like my thing right now is Damian Martinez and Sam Brown are going to have great moments this year. Like I'm not flip flopping on that. These are two proven dudes in college football who put up big numbers and had a lot of success where they were. And you know what? They came here to eat. I mean,
they all did. So did Tyler Barron.
Yeah, but this Martinez Sam Brown thing right now is the subplot of offense right now on the season because these guys came here without question expecting to have bigger roles than what they've had in the first third of the season.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see Shannon Dawson acknowledging that, and he is trying to get them going. They are getting reps. Like I said,
but they can't take the ball out of Ward's hands. If he sees guys open, he's not going to keep handing it off for what?
No, and
just to showcase those guys.
He's his job is to pick out the open receiver. Okay, he's not looking for any one guy. But if you're Shannon Dawson, all you can do is put them out there, and they are like Martinez got a bunch of chances the other night. His most impactful play was in the passing game.
Yes,
but I think both those guys. I'm not flip flopping at all on that. For example. I think they're both going to have some great moments as the year goes on. Herb points out the defensive line is playing so elite. They've taken out a couple starting quarterbacks this year. Bruce, they really are, man. They're
violent. That's what he wants. You hear Mario talk about it in the locker room and stuff. Play violent. They want violence. They were violent back in the day. That's for sure.
Yeah, James Welford, Miami's success this year is going to come down to their defense. They have the offense. No argument.
Yeah, we've said that all along. We actually narrowed it down to the secondary, but that the jury's still out on this secondary. I think that's a true statement. We're not really sure what we have back there yet.
Yeah. All right, so I think that pretty much covers it. I'm just checking the last few comments here, but I think we covered most of the hot buttons tonight, Bruce, and another great show. Parting thoughts before we send everybody to sleep.
One, I do like Matt, although he made a comment last week that I'm better than him. No, Mac's great. I come in here because we're friends and I enjoy doing this. I just think that I don't see Virginia Tech coming down here with the inconsistent play that they have had for 4 games and us being the way we are. And I know Mario's got this team jacked for this game. It's an ACC game. That's the last thing he wants to do is repeat the Georgia Tech game from last year. I think we kicked their ass. I think we beat them we're going to 40-something. Maybe they'll score 20 points. Maybe.
Night game at Hard Rock, man. Those don't tend to go very well for the other team.
Nope.
So it should be fun on Friday night. Hope to see a bunch of you guys out there. And those of you that I saw in Tampa last weekend, it was great meeting a lot of you. We all had a lot of fun at Burns on Friday night, and then obviously at the game. And appreciate you guys watching our shows. And if you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please come join our community of fans. We do everything we can do every day, not just on these shows, but with our stories on the website. We put out hundreds of stories a month.
And go to Caneswear, baby. Go to Caneswear because Brett and those guys are they're just really good dudes.
Yep, 2655 South University Drive in Davie or Caneswear.com. Make sure you go check them out for all your merchandise. So for Matt Shodell, Bruce Warner, all of our guests tonight, great show, everybody. Tomorrow night, the great one is back, the Lamar Thomas Show. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 o'clock with Lamar. IC, and we'll have a special guest as well. I won't let it out of the bag tonight. We'll keep that anticipation going for tomorrow night. So hopefully we'll see all you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for joining us tonight, and have a great evening.